across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Hey everybody, Merry Christmas. I hope everybody here had a very Merry Christmas. How's everybody doing?
How are you, Rich?
I'm good. I was
Merry
feeling a
Christmas.
little lousy earlier in the day, but then I had to go out to the supermarket and get something, and I was like, oh, yeah, got to do a stream.
There you go.
How is everybody?
Hope everybody had a good Christmas.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go down the list. Hey, Bobbity, what's going on? Merry Christmas. Let's see. Pam, how you doing, girlfriend? Everybody, hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. What's up, Packer? Good to see you, man. Brother Chris, good to see you. What's up, bruv? My brother Jimmy from Philly is in the house every day. Hey, 42. What's going on, brother? Merry Christmas. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. Yeah, it's right now it's snowing, and we got snow and hail at the same time. It came Christmas +1. It couldn't come yesterday. It had to come. That's all right.
Hey, and I'm in Colorado. It's
Yes, it
right
is.
now. Right now, sun's just about going down. It's still 60 degrees, and it's been 65 to 70 degrees here all for the past 2 weeks.
Shut up. Anyway, so it's right now currently where I am. It's 29 degrees, and it was I think it was 12 this morning when I got up. It was 12 degrees.
So you realize this is one of the reasons I moved from the East Coast.
I didn't know you lived on the East Coast. Okay.
Well, you knew that.
If I didn't-
I'm originally from Montreal.
Oh. I thought you meant U.S. Okay. No worries.
Montreal, and then I lived in Halifax for a very long time.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Apparently, Pam's sister lives in Colorado, and she was saying it was 70 at her sister's house, too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been 65, 70 degrees here for like the past 2 weeks, I think.
Crazy, because aren't you guys like up so high, you get like nosebleeds, and you figured it would be colder the higher you go, right? Good for you, man. Yeah, well, we got crazy news this week. Isn't it crazy? Like, we got some really good stories that are like, you're like, holy crap, really? End of year usually is. So let me go over. We're going to talk. Let me close the.
Although we didn't have any major natural disasters or man-made disasters. I know when I was growing up, my mother always, at the end of the year, she said, oh, we're going to have, there'll be a big airplane crash, or there'll be a big earthquake, or there'll be something.
Yeah. Well,
right around the season. She always said that. I don't know how many times she was right.
Yeah, that's the part that matters, right? All right, here's the stories, right? U.S. southern border, Christmas this year versus last year. Look at this. Remember all that on the left there? All the illegals coming over. Now, this particular scene, the top left one, let's see if we can see it right here. This top left one here. I remember that. That was where they were coming across, and behind where the camera is, there was a fence that Texas put up, and the feds came in. The Border Patrol under Biden came in and started cutting the fence so the illegals could continue to come in. Right there, I think charges should have been filed against the administration, against Alejandro Mayorkas and warm diarrhea brains Joe Biden.
Yeah, but who are you going to get to do it? The AG?
Exactly. I know. Merrick Garland was a piece of crap. They were all, oh my God, they were all a piece of crap. But there's a lot of comparisons this week. So here we go. Thank you, Trump. Murders in the USA set for the largest one-year drop on record in our history. There's one. Kamala. Yes, Kamala Harris tops 2028. I went, yes. Kamala Harris tops 2028 polls amid party tensions. Kamala Harris. Oh.
I'll donate to a primary campaign.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I'll start a primary campaign pack. The left can't admit mass migration is national suicide. That's another good one. J.D. Vance unleashes the secret sauce that turns liberals into quivering bowls of jelly. That's a good one. Here we go. Mike Benz. We're reading him a lot each week because he's pretty good. Mike Benz just examined Epstein files, and he's got a telltale theory, and he's usually right. Benz. Breaking. It's finalized. DHS has quietly rewritten the H-1B lottery. Good. Here you go. For our British friends, British Labour Party was sending staff to campaign for Harris in U.S. swing states. That's illegal in our country. Foreign help. Now, didn't they, Trump's a puppet of Putin. Putin got him elected in 2016. Yeah, because the Russians spent like $106,000 on Facebook ads. Half of them were bashing Trump. Half were bashing Hillary. Now, but yet, and I'm sure the Chinese were in there helping her, and a lot of other countries, right? But we're not supposed to talk about that, bigot. Teacher referred to UK terror program for showing Trump videos. What?
Think about that. Just think about that.
I know, you guys. I mean, I feel so bad for you guys in the UK. They are losing their effing minds. Oh, look at Jimmy. They are losing their ever-loving minds in the government over there. It's just unreal. Hey, what's up, Chris? Good to see you. 79. Where are you at, Chris? I forget. He told me, but I forget. Sorry. Let me say, yeah. Oh, yeah, we knew FFS. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy, I agree with you. I wouldn't mind AOC either.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see a runoff between. I want to see a primary between Jasmine Crack. I can only think of her as Jasmine Ratchet. Okay.
Yeah.
Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and Kamala. I mean, get the popcorn. Butter the popcorn.
What's up, Bass? Merry Christmas, brother. Thank you for being here. Yeah, here you go. So, ready? Jimmy, what a low-life piece of scum. Jimmy Kimmel attacks Trump, warns of tranny booming in Christmas address on UK TV. We won, the president lost. I don't know what he means by that, but you know what it is? What I think that is, I'm sorry to interrupt. What I think that is when he says we won, the president lost, he is blaming Trump for him getting fired by ABC.
Of course he is.
But ABC said that it was because low ratings and what he said about Charlie Kirk. Trump had nothing to do with it. but he's blaming Trump because he's just a piece of human debris.
Well, he's a Democrat. He's never going to point a finger at himself. I mean, it's physically.
Yeah, but when you point to somebody else, you got 3 other fingers pointing right back at you.
Well, there is that.
Yeah, so
but he's never going to take any responsibility.
Oh, no, never. He's just, what a piece of shit. Anyway, China says U.S. arms sales to Taiwan speeding up threat of war. Yeah, I dare you, CCP. I fucking dare you. Trump admin releases 30,000 new Epstein files, including some obviously fake claims about Trump. We'll get into that. Foreign-born mayor can literally barely speak English. That's a good one. They elected a foreign-born guy who can barely speak English as their mayor. Here are this year's wildest stories of HOAs waging war on Christmas decorations. That's always fun. HOAs. I think an HOA is really for, if you work there, is for displaced Nazis. Because I lived one time in a condo. It was a house, but it was a condo in an HOA, and I got a great story. It was nuts. But down here we go. Dark Christmas. Unhinged Zelensky hints he's waiting for Trump to pass away for Ukraine to join NATO. Says his holiday, and I think it's 2 L's there. Holiday wish is for Putin to die. Now, this a-hole is supposed to meet with Trump very soon, and they're gonna have like a meeting to talk about how each side is going to prepare. But I don't think Putin's going to be there. But he's talking about how's Ukraine going to prepare for the slowdown of the war and to end it, right? But he puts out he's waiting for Trump to die so that Ukraine can join NATO. Are you shitting me? All right, DHS arrests over 17,500 criminal legal aliens under the Laken-Riley Act. So that one act gave ICE the power to go in for these types of criminal illegal aliens. Trump launches Christmas night airstrikes on ISIS, he calls terrorist scum, in Nigeria after killings of Christians. It's about time. Here you go. Eric Fartswell likens Jesus, Mary, and Joseph to illegal aliens on Christmas. You can't make this shit up, guys. So then we got not as much of a plethora, because I didn't prep until like 4 o'clock 2 hours ago. I didn't start prepping, but we'll find other stuff if we don't find anything else.
You know what,
up, Steve? Hey, Linda, how you doing? Let me see. What's that?
This.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This is. Sometimes we're going through these, and all I can think of is Babylon Bee.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you think it's the Babylon Bee, not the
or more correctly, not the bee.
but not the bee is the same people, but they do serious stories.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
You're right. It's like the Babylon Bee.
It looks like a joke, but it's like
it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these stories. Like, let me just get down the headlines here. These are crazy. This is going to be great. California's 5 most radical laws set to come into force in 2026. Then Trump looks to be in strong position to overturn his felony hush money. That's the porn star, right? That's that case, right? Convictions in the Stormy Daniels case, because the entire case, there's so many reversibles that happened in that case. The very first one, the judge allowed a state prosecutor to work in the federal system so that they could bring phony charges converted in state misdemeanor charges into felony elections charges on the federal level. And that whole thing is going to be thrown out for that alone.
And then they excluded exculpatory witnesses.
Yeah, exactly. The judge refused to allow the defense to call a federal elections executive to testify that Trump violated no federal election laws. None. So, I mean, that alone is irreversible. The judge can't possibly have a good reason. He allows a state DA to get into the federal system for federal elections laws, which have nothing to do with the state misdemeanor records documents violations, and yet he won't allow a witness that will completely shut down. It's unbelievable what this guy did, this judge. All right, so conspiracy theorists are conspiring to be stupid. That's a good Kurt Schlichter one. And then we have America's top 10 most sinful cities named and shamed. Then Joe
good.
Biden.
Tell me where I need to go on vacation.
There you go. Joe Biden posts the most bizarre family Christmas photo. Where do you see it? It's not like crazy, but it's like he was the president. Oh, let's do it right now. Let's do that as the first one. Okay, ready? So, here it is. It says, Joe Biden posted a bizarre family Christmas photo on Christmas Eve. The family photo shows Dr. Jill standing in front of Joe, blocking half his face. What people think is he either had a stroke and or that he fell and his face is all purple, right? But here you go. Look at this. Like how could they post that, right? Because I got the whole clan there. There's another one we're doing today where Hunter Biden suddenly grew up and he sounds credible on something that he was saying. That's another crazy one, but it has here. Is Joe Biden covering up bruises on Joe's face or perhaps a drooping mouth from a stroke? Hunter played the part of the family patriarch as he stood front and center, quote, wishing you a peaceful and joyful Christmas Eve filled with love. Okay. And, you know, I think it's disrespectful to put the eldest member in the back of a photo taken for the former president's social media. And he's the former president, even though we know he stole. Where's Waldo? Where's Joe? Yeah, if you don't follow Gunther Eagleman, you should. He's pretty good. Let's see what did Apple Lamp said. Took me a while to find you, champ. And there he is. Yeah. What the hell is it? Oh, yeah. There's the whole criminal clan right there. And there's Dr. Jill Biden, according to Whoopi Goldberg, is the greatest doctor, should be a surgeon. I mean, that's just crazy shit. Crazy town. I mean, can you imagine that happening with anybody else? I mean, any other president, can you imagine they put him behind people? He's not front and center or in the middle at least.
Well, let me just say this about that. I don't think anybody would do that to Mr. Trump.
He could have been so much more. So what you're saying, Steve, is that Donald Trump is now not Donald Trump because he supports an American ally in the Middle East. Okay. All right. Got it. Joe groped most of the people in that photo. Yeah. Well, he slept with the daughter that he went in and showered with every night or every day is in there too. Unfreaking believable. All right, so let's go with the first one. Let's see. Second one now.
Yeah, what's the last thing I heard? They're estimating like 45 million. None of this 11 million.
Oh yeah, it's like 45 million now. Yeah,
like
that's what
45 million. None of this 11 million.
Yeah, you know why? Because it was 30 million before Biden got in. Since I think it was
before he got, I don't know about you, and maybe my memory is faulty, but I kept hearing 11 million. That's how many illegal
that's what I was about to say. They've been saying 11 million.
But they said that for like 10 years.
It's either 1997 or 2002. I can't remember. But I heard the two in different things. But no matter what. So they said 11 million back then. And they say 11 million today. And the only way that's possible is that for every illegal that leaves the country and goes back to Mexico, a new one comes in. So it's like they're going, tag, you're it, you know, and they pass some.
And they said 11 million, right? They said 11 million for like 10 years.
That's what I'm saying. They think that we're stupid in that when they keep coming in, that another one has to leave for everyone that comes in. That's the only way you get to keep it at 11 million. And none of them have children, right?
Yeah,
none of them, you know. So, I mean, that's just.
Well, the children are U.S. citizens, you bigot.
Oh, yeah, you bigot. U.S. southern border, Christmas this year versus last. You got to love it, man. Completely empty. And we had them climbing up where our own custom agents were forced by Alejandro Mayorkas, the DHS secretary, to cut any fences down. Can you believe it? And you want to know something? That was considered an invasion, okay? By any standard, it was considered an invasion, not this scene here, but the 25 million, they say it's up to 25 now for him, the 25 or 40, but the 25 million that came in, that was an invasion, all right? Mostly middle-aged or young men, like military age, actually. And so the Constitution does say that a state may protect its border during invasion. They're allowed to do that. So the Biden administration violated the Constitution by taking away measures that the state of Texas tried to take to defend their land.
Yeah, because that's what Texas was trying to do.
Yep, that's exactly what. Last Christmas, the U.S. southern border was the epicenter of a national crisis. 1 year later, it is the centerpiece of a political victory lap as the Trump administration touts record low crossings, aggressive enforcement, and what officials call the most secure border in American history. And do you remember Karine Jean-Pierre used to get up there and say the border is secure? What are you talking about? The border's secure. She continually said that.
And Kamala did the same.
I know. I did like images where I showed her there saying the border is secure, and then behind her is all the illegals running across, and you got that guy from Iraq. Remember that guy, the press guy? He was a military guy, but he was saying, we're winning the war. There's no Americans here, while Americans are walking behind them with their gear and all. Quote, just 1 year ago, our border faced unprecedented chaos, Border Patrol Chief Michael Banks stated in a post on social media. Today, thanks in part to the relentless dedication of Border Patrol agents, we have achieved historic border security milestones and record low illegal crossings. And I think I posted it because I wanted to. There are 10 countries right now in Europe that are saying to Muslims, get the fuck out. They're all saying, get out now. We don't want you anymore. And that's going to be a big story to see how Brussels deals with that. So let's see. You gotta love that. You gotta love that, man. So let's see. During these periods, the apprehensions in the Biden era averaged between 88,000 encounters per month. See, under Trump, they'd have an encounter and then they'd send them back to Mexico, say, remain in Mexico and wait for your hearing. All right. Well, what Biden did was said, okay, here you go. Here's your hearing. 3 years from now, go ahead, have fun in America.
Even if they did show up, they've got an anchor baby by then.
Yeah. This Christmas. Look at this. No illegals. No crime.
Here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Vixen and all his reindeers pulling on the reins. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. So hang your stockings and say your prayers, cause Santa Claus comes tonight.
You gotta love it, man.
Yeah, but you know what it is?
What's that?
Mayorkas said it. Kamala Harris said it. KJP said it. The border is secure. But, it depends on what the definition of is.
I know. What's up, Charlie?
As one of our most famous Democrats said.
Yeah, I know. The definition of is while he's being grilled in court.
The only
being
thing
sued.
I would love to have
Paula
seen,
Jones.
I would love to have seen the look on Bill Clinton's face when somebody told him that she had evidence that she had kept the dress and not washed it. I can't imagine the look on his face and he's just there going, she kept what? Can you think think about it.
I know.
I can't put myself in that position, but I can kind of visualize. Think of what he must have been thinking. Think about what his face must have looked like at that point.
I know.
He probably couldn't have looked any more shocked if a two-headed Martian walked into his room.
So 40 says, grow up in Belfast with Irish terrorists murdering your people while being told you are geocoding the Irish people who are murdering you. And it's hard to see what Israel has done wrong. See, what Israel did wrong is they didn't counter the Marxist arguments, and they should have countered and any other like pro-democracy country out there. They for some weird freaking reason, they all side with, they believe a lot of, and I'm not saying, again, guys, I'm not saying Israel is innocent. I'm just saying I would think the overwhelming majority of the bullshit that's being said from is just that bullshit. But yeah, think of the cigar though. Jimmy, the cigar, right? You remember that? The Oval Office cigar.
Yeah, what he liked to use for a humidor, you mean?
Yeah. There you go. He had a special pocket for that one.
Yeah.
I wonder if he smoked it later. I don't even want to get into that.
Bend over, honey. I need to. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. All right, so let's.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw that in there in case anybody, maybe one of our overseas viewers had not heard that part.
Right. There you go. Here's the one on murder rate. Now, guys, all you American bastards out there watching this, thank you. God love you because you're the reason this happened. Okay, you are the reason because of your November vote. Murders in the USA set for largest one-year drop on record. The number of murders in the United States is on track for its largest one-year drop on record, according to an analysis by noted crime stats expert Jeff Asher, using the real-time crime index that compares. That's different from the uniform crime index, which could be politicized. That compares data from 570 law enforcement agencies. Asher reports a nearly 20% decline in murders in 2025 versus the same period in 2024. The database excludes manslaughter, self-defense, negligence, and accidental killings. Exactly. Because manslaughter the reason it's manslaughter is it could be the person didn't mean to kill them, but they did something stupid, right? Like you got into a bar fight and you hit the guy back and you didn't realize you're going to kill him, right?
Or vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah, vehicular manslaughter, right. Do you know that the vehicular manslaughter in some states falls under the vehicular code? That just blew my mind. As Asher notes on his Substack, the drop in crime in 2025 continues a trend that began in 2023, accelerated in 2024, and likely became historic in 2025. Now, I personally think it started going down in 2023 and accelerated in 2024 because the Democrats stopped reporting it. Because we know that when I lived in Philadelphia, right? I grew up in Philly. And in Philadelphia, the year that Bob Dole was running for president, vote for Bob Dole, right? When Bob Dole was running, they had Mayor Eddie Rendell, Democrat. He was the mayor at the time of Philly, and he wanted to get the Republican National Convention in Philadelphia because it brings a shit ton of money in, right? So he wanted to do that. And everybody told him, your crime stats, there's no way they're going to accept Philly. It's just out of control crime. So he did the greatest thing he could ever do for the Philadelphia. Lowered crime. Actually, I'm lying. He didn't. He just lowered the crime rates. They told his district commanders to tell their officers for certain types of crime, do not report them, including assault.
Yeah, and isn't the current chief of police in D.C., didn't she quit for something like that?
Yeah, had to.
And the other reason that we saw these things going down has to do with a spike during COVID.
Yeah, because there weren't enough people outside to murder. Exactly. But
because COVID, there was a spike in all kinds of crime. People were just like insane.
All right. But
and so in 2023, it came down. It came down from that high.
Oh, okay. But what the point that I'm making is never trust stats when they come from Democrats. They lie. They think about it. Barack Obama, when he was running for re-election in 2012, the big news story went around. Everybody's reporting it that no president has been reelected when unemployment was above 8%. His unemployment was 8.25%. Magically, 4 months before the election, it goes down to 7.9 or something like that, just below 8%. We found out he did that by using the U6. Okay, the U6 is an unemployment rate where they stop counting people that have been out of a job for 2 years. So that's how he got the number lowered. He didn't fix unemployment. He just cheated. You're not supposed to use the U6, and they did. And they presented the facts and all, and they changed the headers to make it look like it wasn't U6 data. And some bright young conservative went, wait a minute, they're using the fucking U6, right? And then they denied it, and then they had to admit it, right? So you just never trust anything. So What we got now is they're saying that it pretty much it was the largest decline now in 2025. But the Democrats Biden's going to come out. Oh, he's taking credit for my work. Bullshit, Joe. Because in your 2023 and 2024, they said it accelerated. That could be it went from 10 to 25 because you guys are fucking losers. You were losers on every single thing that you dealt with for those 4 years. So they're saying 20% drop in 2025 alone. That's big. That's really big. We don't need to read it anymore.
Yeah, and the other thing they did for the jobs numbers is they just made up, literally, I think it's 150,000 government jobs.
Wow.
And just hired people.
Yeah. And you know what else it was? They were temporary jobs for like Christmas and whatnot. They were doing like the post office hires extra guys to go out and deliver mail just through the Christmas rush and stuff like that. They were counting them as full-time jobs.
Yeah, but
they're working full-time. Yeah, but they're temporary.
Yeah, they just made up jobs. I think it was like 150,000 just made up government jobs. And what was interesting is the vast majority of those went to Black women.
Yeah. Hang on. Yeah, please hit the like button if you haven't already. It does help us. Appreciate it. Thanks, Chris. Let's see. Barack Obama. I remember Obama once tried to say on St. Patrick's Day that he was Irish because his name is Obama. He did. He really did. He was making a joke, but it didn't go over that well. That's like saying, my name is Patty O'Furniture. All right. Let's go down. Kamala. It's Kamala again. We always got to have a laugh or two. So Kamala Harris, thank God, she is topping the 2028 polls amid their party's tensions. In other words, they don't want anybody else. They figure, she already had the gig. She did 170 days, so let's give her some more. So Kamala Harris on the phone with Justin Trudeau 2021. Can you imagine? Oh, my God. Kamala Harris is stirring the political pot again, but this time her message is sharper and more pointed. The former vice president, who lost the 2024 presidential race to Donald Trump, has been making waves with a new tone that distances her from the old guard and signals a possible 2028 White House bid. She was supposed to run for governor. Remember that? I think they said, get out of here. I think even the people of California couldn't take her anymore. What exactly is she saying? How is the Democratic Party reacting? Here are the facts. A new message for a new run. At a recent Democratic DNC national meeting in Los Angeles, Harris delivered a speech that caught many off guard. She criticized both major parties for losing the public's trust, saying government is seen as fundamentally unable to meet the needs of its people. Well, Republicans seem to be meeting those needs, as reported by the Daily Bullshit. She added that the people are done with the status quo. Yeah, that's why Trump won. And are ready to break things to force change. So is that a threat of violence, Kamala? Yeah, let's listen to her.
Both parties have failed to hold the public's trust. Government is viewed as fundamentally unable to meet the needs of its people.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but the Republicans aren't down in the teens for their polls. You guys are.
In these and in so many other ways, the people feel that the very institutions that were designed to support them.
An institution is a place where people go to work. I mean, can you imagine?
Have failed them.
It's the same woman.
And they are not wrong. We must see what is happening. People are done with the status quo. And
that's why they elected Trump.
Ready to break things to force change.
Yeah, see, ready to break things to force change. Now, if a Republican said that, what do you think the headlines would be, Dr. Jade?
I mean, that's obvious. That's a no-brainer. I mean, they'd be saying, "Oh, they're telling us to commit violence and break things."
What's up, Louie? Yeah, you're right. Ms. Giggle cackles. Yeah. Ms. Giggles and cackles. Why can't I do that? Oh, okay. I'm doing it from here. Let me take that off. I thought I did. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Style. Cigar. There you go. A cigar again. So here we go. Lyman. Yeah, here you go. The lib nuts are just crazy. This is from the Federalist. Lyman. The left can't admit third world mass migration is national suicide. They just can't do it. They can't. Here, we don't even need to read.
Yeah, of course they're trying to downplay this attack because they have to deflect from the underlying cause. Australia, much like the rest of the
I think the girl in the red is the leftist.
West, has embraced mass migration from regions that are plagued by instability and radical ideology.
Look at this.
And when you import that en masse, you get attacks like Bondi.
We can't show that. We'll get in trouble. Let's see.
I don't think they really. Well, I don't know what.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
You get the globalize the Intifada. You get two National
he's
Guardsmen
not
being
shooting.
shot in the street.
Fact
You get
checkers!
Boulder, Colorado. We
Not
imported
shooting.
a radical Islamist attack Jews. You get Germany and
Saying,
Paris
"Get outta
having to
here."
cancel Christmas and New Year celebrations because they're worried
Yeah.
about violence from.
Yeah, how about that? A lot of countries are canceling Christmas celebrations because they're worried that the Muslims who don't want to assimilate into their society won't let them do it. They're not.
Yeah,
These countries aren't. These societies aren't saying, "Hey, you have to celebrate the birth of Christ, our Lord and Savior." No, they're not doing it at all. They're just saying, "Hey, you can't do that. That offends me."
Mass
Go
migrations.
ahead.
These are not.
The mayor of London tried to
Yeah.
cancel Christmas. I
Yep.
can't remember. Did you do a video on that? I can't remember.
No, I don't think we did. I didn't, but I don't think we talked about it either because it just happened. But yeah, I saw that. And that's like, are you out of your effing mind?
But you know what happened?
What that?
Thousands.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Christians gathered
Yeah.
up
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I
and
saw it.
started
Did you-
singing, and it was right outside Parliament. I think they gathered.
Right. I showed the video to Jimmy yesterday. He was here yesterday. I showed
Yeah,
the video.
42.
Yeah.
You may know more about that.
Yeah, he probably does.
Chip in.
Absolutely.
Chime in.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if 42 wants to come in and talk about that, maybe you can invite him.
Yeah. If you want to, let me know. Who's Nigel Bonto? Okay. Not. What's up, Nigel? Let's see. What else can we do? Yeah, we're not going to watch that anymore. We know what it is. So it says, of course, the propaganda press is trying to downplay this attack because they have to deflect from the underlying cause. Australia, much like the rest of the West, this is the girl talking, has embraced mass migration from the regions that are plagued by instability and radical ideology. And when you import that en masse, you get attacks like Bondi Beach. You get the globalize the intifada. I can't speak. You get the two National Guardsmen being shot in the street. You get Boulder, Colorado. We imported a radical Islamic to attack Jews. The Federalist Brianna Lyman said on Fox News. Yet you get Germany and Paris having to cancel Christmas and New Year's celebrations because they're worried about violence from mass migrations. Then you know what you do? You fucking get rid of them. Did you see that Georgia Maloney was in the news for something like that? Let me see if I got it up there.
Well, you know, Trump wants to gather, I believe it's 5 European countries now to form a different union, and it's Poland,
Really?
Hungary,
Oh, yeah.
Italy. I think there's two others. Who are the two others? I can't remember.
I
Anybody
don't know.
remember? Let me know. But
Well,
he wants.
Poland and Hungary were because they were under the Soviet bloc for like what 82 years or something like that,
Yeah.
and so they're always like, no, anything that sounds communist, we're gonna
And the people from Poland and Hungary can smell communism.
a mile away. Yeah, they're
A
like, we'll poke
mile
you in the
away.
eye. We'll poke you in the eye if you even mention communism in this country.
Oh yeah, they'll take a swing at you if you talk
Yeah.
about communism. But
I hold on. Let me see what he says. Let me see. Hold on.
42 says he's had.
I've had too many beers to be safe behind a mic. Many even. Yeah, we knew what you meant, brother. It is cheerful. I hope Dr. Jade has an effective prescription for her moment.
Well, I don't know about a prescription, but I do have a very brief thing to talk about.
Oh, do you? You want to do it now?
Sure.
You have a link you want to put up?
We can do that. Let
Yeah,
me go here.
Post the
Let
link
me-
up.
It's a Dr. Jade moment.
All right. Here we go.
Well, folks,
There we go.
I hope everybody is, doing well in this season. This is going to come as no surprise to any Commonwealth people, but I thought I'd review it anyway. What is today called? Rich, do you know what today is called?
Yeah, Boxing Day. You got to shut off the notice for privacy. It's a little box that came up. We can't see
Yeah,
anything. I know it's a pain in the ass.
yeah, I hate doing either of them. Yeah, okay,
Yeah, you
whatever.
can clear your cookies afterwards.
Okay, there
Yeah,
we go.
just clear them. Yeah.
All right.
There you go. All right.
So, okay, I kind of gave you the clue. It's called Boxing Day. Now, when I was a kid growing up, I figured it was Boxing Day because that's the day you grabbed up all the presents that you really didn't want, boxed them up, and took them back to the store. But it evidently has a much deeper history. And to our overseas viewers, Boxing Day, 26th of December, I think actually the first thing we should talk about is that today is the Feast of St. Stephen, the first Christian martyr. And he was known as someone who was very charitable and helped the poor. But then that ties into the Victorian origin. I guess the most likely origin story is out of Victorian Britain, where all the servants worked like heck on Christmas Day because all of the people were having their family in, and they worked all day and most of the night, cooking, cleaning, and whatnot. And so the 26th of December, they gave them the day off, and they handed them what was called a Christmas box. So that was Boxing Day, and it would have some money and gifts, and then that just spread. And then I guess the church tradition, they would immediately after Christmas Day, they would open their alms boxes and spread that out to the poor, unless of course you're talking about modern day, in which case most of it was embezzled, but that's a different story.
Wow.
Here's one that I didn't know. I guess sailors, they had a money box on ships. And after a successful voyage, this box would be given to charity.
Oh, wow.
It was a, I don't know if it was donated. I think it was just basically a part of the earnings. Because, did you know pirates were extremely egalitarian?
Really?
Yeah. Everybody had a say in how the ship was run. The captain was the captain, but everybody got to have a voice. Everybody got an equal share. I shouldn't say equal. I guess appropriate share. There were no shenanigans. It was a real business.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I digressed. But I like pirates.
And a lot of them screamed Allahu Akbar, but go ahead.
Yeah, maybe next week I'll come with an eye patch and a parrot. I talked about St. Stephen. Yeah, the Feast of St. Stephen, that goes way back. And again, acts of charity. Today, basically, we just lie around and recover from the food coma that we had the day before. And of course, modern Boxing Day has to do with football. And I guess I should specify American football, which of course is always curious to our European cousins, because they say, how can it be football when most of the time you're holding it with your hand?
Right.
But that's another story. And then of course, the biggest tradition of all. Guess what happens to your turkey leftovers?
Oh, what, on Boxing Day? What?
Yeah. Right there. Turkey
that?
sandwiches.
Oh, okay. I don't see the sandwich, but all right.
Yeah, right there in the headline.
Oh, I'm looking at the picture because, you know, that's how I'm.
That's somebody's toy.
Yeah, it looks like a rumba, but all right.
Just thinking, it does look like
It could deliver a turkey sandwich, right?
Although I watched a video the other day, which the guy was experimenting with how much tannerite you could put in a rumba.
Oh,
And
nice.
anybody who doesn't know what tannerite is, it's what's used to make exploding targets.
Right.
And so mainly we sit around, eat leftovers, and watch football in the United States.
Yep.
And
we're American.
And yeah, so
I don't know. Hold on. It was in the 1800s, the late 1800s, the first intercollegiate game in 1869, Rutgers versus Princeton. So I don't know when did Boxing Day start?
like I say, it goes back to Victorian England.
Okay.
The exact
1600s.
It goes back at least to Victorian England. If somebody can find a reference for something more specific, that's great.
40 said it became a thing in the late 1600s, Boxing Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and
if 40 says anything, we're going to give him infallibility. If he says anything on history over there, just take it at face value.
I was going to say you can
right.
pretty much rely on 40. I don't know him very well, but I've never heard him blow smoke. So
there you go. Yeah.
And then Saint Stephen the Martyr. I just want to see something here. Saint Stephen the Martyr. AD 5 to AD 34. Okay, so he's a lot earlier than that, but they've also related it to him. But that's what I have, kids. I don't know if that's interesting. I kind of found it fun to
fine. Yeah,
look up a little look up a little facts on Boxing Day.
Because I believe it or not, I never looked it up. Like, what is Boxing Day?
Yeah.
Like, why do they have it?
Yeah,
I always thought it was two guys that were in the ring. What did I know?
Yeah, but in Canada, Commonwealth countries know what Boxing Day is. And like I say, growing up as a kid, I figured that you boxed up all the presents you didn't want, and
yeah. All right, cool. Thank you.
It's a Dr. Jade moment.
Let's see. Here, it's cricket. The Boxing Day Ashes test at the MCG. Okay. All right. So I got something in. Let me bring this up. It was I think it was December 19th it came out. Yeah, December 19th. ICE's condemnation of Christmas threatens celebrations in Europe. So they're a bunch of wussies instead. Okay. So not you guys, of course. Islamic supremacists. That's the first time I've seen that written. Islamic supremacists. They usually call them fundamentalists to make them sound like they're religious scholars, right? But Islamic supremacists, I love that, are inciting their followers to target Christmas markets as part of a wider strategy to force Christians into dhimmi, whatever status, under Sharia's law. I thought it was Sharia law. Oh, yeah, Sharia. I thought it was an S. God, and I'm not even drinking, guys. Sharia law with the blasphemous doctrine of the incarnation serving as the basis for their calls to action. That's the message from Martin Parsons, an Islamic scholar and Middle East expert, who warns that recent efforts to disrupt Christmas celebrations in Europe are almost certainly a response to a specific call for the Islamic State in its weekly newsletter. Do you know why we don't have to put up with that kind of bullshit in the United States? Because we have a Second Amendment. Because we don't fear any of them coming and trying to fuck with us because we have over 350 million guns. We have more guns than we have people, of course. But let's see. I'll get back to it. While the call to jihad is, quote, a move which appears to have been an attempt to claim credit for the recognition of the Palestinian state due to be announced at the UN by several Western governments a few days later, end quote, the primary provocation against the celebration of Christmas is theological. Parsons, a former aid worker to Afghanistan and founder of the Lindisfarne Center for the Study of Christian Persecution, told Focus on Western Islamism. Parsons offered this warning after police in Germany and Poland thwarted Islamist plots targeting Christian Christmas markets, and as French officials moved to cancel or scale back Christian festivals in response to the threat environment. It's like you let them in with open arms, and then they allow ISIS to talk their dumb asses into trying to target you because you're a Christian. This is what we've been putting up with since the 1970s when they had that summit.
And you know what I say to that?
What's that?
Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what?
GFY.
You know what? I've got a great attitude. I got a great attitude. Fuck you.
Go fuck yourself. Yeah.
We need
answer to all these people.
We need a lot more good attitudes in this country, in this world.
It was part of the plan. Yeah, exactly. Well, dude, you're right. I think it was part of the plan.
Oh, like you think? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're calling it now an Islamic swarm, a global Islamic swarm, where they used liberalism. Liberalism says, well, they're brown people, so we gotta let them in, right? Right? Isn't that in the rules, right? Constitution. And so they let them in, then they let them assimilate. Well, that never happened. And so then they put them on all the welfare rolls. That certainly happened. And then they let them sit around and plot the murder of your hosts.
But it all comes down to the same thing. Democrats plotting.
Yeah, well, over here, yeah. But
well, in this country, and the equivalent
well, I'll tell you what, there's a bunch of Somalis that are like looking out their windows now because of what's going on up there in Minneapolis. I mean, there is so much shit coming down. There's so much. It's not one or two fraud things. There's like 50 of them now. You can't keep track. You need a program because you can't keep track of all the fraud that the Somalis did.
Well, the problem is there were so many of them involved.
And there's a congressman who already put the vote up, and I think they're going to schedule it to remove Ilhan Omar because she was involved. They're saying now they have evidence she was involved in some of it.
Yeah, and
you got to wonder, like
that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. She goes from like 59,000 a year, and now she's 30 million. She's worth $30 million. And she went from my husband's tech program. Yeah, and how much of that money? I watched it. How much of that money was like filtered in from the Somali ripoff? Because I watched a video yesterday where the guy was at Nick's Jimmy. What's the name of that guy? Nick. He goes out and does the stuff on the street. He's great. Well, he did one where he was up there in Minneapolis. And he goes, look, he's outside a building, and he says, look, he goes, I'm here in Minneapolis, and here's one of the many. He said daycare centers that they created, and he says this center is accredited for 90 children. He goes, now it's during the week. There's no one in the parking lot. He goes, there's no one around. I go over to open the door, and it's like, yeah, Nick Shirley. Thank you, Chris. And he goes, I go to open it, and the door's locked. And he goes, and look at the sign. It says, what is it? Accredited Learning Center. He goes, but they spelled learning wrong. It was Leering Center. They forgot the N. What they're doing is they're getting money. They're either leasing or purchasing a small building. Ilhan was the one that brought this up, by the way. I read an article years ago that said that there was a whistleblower that said that she told, I've talked about this before. She told a bunch of women, all you got to do is go and get, all you have to do is go and tell the state that you want to run a daycare center. They will give you money for that daycare center to run it. They'll help you. And then they'll pay you for each child that's in there. They'll give you money for that. And so the women, they sit around all day long with nothing to do, right? So they have children galore, right? They're all having kids. And so they take turns going to each daycare each week. Well, now they don't even do it.
I mean, they're not even going to the daycare centers. They're just claiming that they're getting like $1.9 million a year per daycare center. And they're not even open. There's no kids in there. It's a total scam. That's the latest one that they found out. Was during the last year, how many times have you heard how racist we were to have Jap internment camps in World War II? Yeah, well, that was done by a Democrat, by the way. It was done by FDR because, and you know what it was? They said, because the Japanese mind, because they feared that Japanese Americans who by all accounts, the overwhelming majority of them, they were just being all Japanese. They had businesses, they went to school, they worked jobs, stuff like that. Yeah, and so they said, "Oh, we can't trust the Japanese mind."
Yeah, but the interesting
total
thing is,
racism of the Democratic Party.
They also assimilated.
Yeah,
a lot of times they wanted their kids to learn English before they learned Japanese because they figured that was the way for the kids to be more successful.
Yep, exactly. So we got another one here. Let me see. Hang on. This is a good one. This is always a good one. It's I love when they put out achievements of the Trump administration. So here we go. So it's ready. White House achievements. President Trump delivers. So this is December. Manufacturing returns, trade improvement, and tougher border enforcement. So here we go. Foreign policy, and you should see the ones after the 2016 when it was over in 2020. I mean, it goes on for pages and pages. And they go, I didn't do anything. Yeah. All right, foreign policy. U.S. seized a sanctioned tanker off Venezuela and imposed new sanctions on Maduro-linked vessels and entities. The impact strengthened sanctions enforcement and maritime rule of law in the region. What they're doing is they're trying to get the drugs to stop coming in from the terrorists, which is Venezuela now. They're a bunch of terrorists. Michael and Susan Dell donated $6.25 billion to fund Trump accounts for 25 million children. Now, these children, unlike the kids in the Feeding Our Future scam and by the Somalis in Ilhan Omar's district, they actually got the benefits of the money. Okay. Black Friday, record-breaking $11.8 billion online spending, $12 billion in aid for American farmers. Trade deficit fell to $52.8 billion, minus 35% year on year. Besant projects 3% GDP growth this year, despite the shutdown. So imagine that. Well, I think the shutdown might have bumped it up a little bit because you get more done when the government's not screwing you, right? So here we go. Boosts manufacturing jobs, investment, narrower trade gap. He's narrowing the trade gap with tariffs too, and direct family support. Border security. DHS launched a worst of the worst database and reported rescue of 62,000 migrant children that were trafficked in. Increases transparency on criminal non-citizens and protects vulnerable children. The Biden administration, what was it? Jade, was it 300,000 children they lost?
I thought it was 350.
350? 350,000 children they lost. And they bitched when it was like, I think it was like 80,000 children under the first Trump administration. Now that's something you can go, yeah, that's pretty fucking bad, right? But 350,000 children they lost. And a lot of them, they say now, they found a lot of them. They wound up either in the sex rings or in the work rings. They were
sweatshops or
exactly.
Sex trafficking.
So let's move on. Law and Order, Operation Catahoula, whatever, Crunch, and other enforcement actions, including removal of 9,500 truck drivers for failing English standards. It was mostly Indians, and I think it was 15,000 licenses were revoked by the feds from California because California allowed those fake schools to just make shit ton. They were, and I'll bet that partial owners or the owners, they were that dumb to put their names on it, were donors to the Gavin Newsom campaign. Because what they did is Gavin Newsom brought in a bunch of Indians, right? I think he put for H-1B visa or however the hell he did it. And he got a shit ton of them in there. They put them through these schools because the government paid for it or the people themselves paid for it. They got CDL licenses. They can't even read our road signs. That's dangerous. That's why people started dying.
And then they they gave them their CDLs with expiry dates like years and years beyond their visas.
I know. So this thing where they removed 9,500 truck drivers for failing English standards. Well, the reason why they did is because this is going to disrupt the criminal networks and raise public safety and industry standards, because a lot of those trucks, what do you think was on them? Drugs. They had a shit ton of drugs or stolen merchandise that was on them. I mean, this is all part of it. How about how many kids or other people being trafficked were going to be put in those trucks and delivered, right? And then you have Maha, which is RFK Jr. He signed support for Patients and Communities Reauthorization Act. It's Substance Use Prevention, Treatment, and Recovery. UK-US pharma tariff deal to lower drug costs. Children Reunited in Ukraine initiative. It expands addiction care access, improves drug affordability, and advances child welfare and mental health support. Now, under energy, national average gas price fell below $3 a gallon. White House survey shows 91% of Americans noticed lower gas prices since the president took office. In some places, it's lower than $2.50 a gallon. All right, so it erases household transportation costs and supports consumer spending. Then we have other. We always have another. White House launched a TikTok account. The president and first lady led multiple public events, including Kennedy Center honors and Toys for Tots. Did you see, Jade, how the libnuts lost their ever-hating minds when Trump put his name on the Kennedy Center?
I didn't pay attention to it, but I think I saw a headline about
OMFG. I mean, they are losing their brains because it was supposed to be for JFK, and they're like, it has nothing to do with JFK. I'm sitting back going, you assholes couldn't even elect JFK today. You guys would never vote for JFK today because he would be too conservative for you. It expands the outreach and highlights administration priorities. You got to, I'm not going to read the rest of them, but it's just like, look at this. Look at all the stuff. This is like all the highlights of everything.
Every month.
Oh, yeah, every month. All the shit that they've done. I mean, here's one. $13 billion in Green New Deal scam spending returned. 13.1 million acres opened for coal production. 625 million coal investments secured. Nice. DC crime down 18% overall. I mean, think about that. 6-month milestone. Look at all this shit. And this is not repeating, guys, honestly. There's like every month there's new stuff to be looked at. Just all these achievements. And remember, at this same time, Joe Biden would call a lid at like 10 o'clock every morning. That was it. He was done for the day in most days. But think about this. The guy never sleeps. So you got to love it. It's pretty awesome stuff. So let's see, what else can we go down to? Murders. We did that. Yeah, let's do.
Did you actually do the story about JD Vance?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to do now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just
going to say, I don't know if I had a mental lapse there. I know I didn't fall asleep.
Yeah. All right. JD Vance unleashed the secret sauce that turns liberals into quivering bowls of jelly. I got to love when he laughs like that. Just the full-throated and belly laugh. So it turns out the easiest way to trigger liberals is to just say it's okay to be white. Those 5 little words have set off one of the most epic meltdowns we've seen in a long time. And the reason is pretty simple. It cuts straight to the heart of the progressive lie that white people are the villains and are responsible for everything that's gone wrong in the world. JD Vance lit a firestorm when he made the case that white people can and should be proud of who they are during his, and you know who he sounds like right there? Nick Fuentes. Because that's all Nick Fuentes does. And they're going to trash JD the same way they trashed Fuentes, right? Fuentes says some things to be pretty, outlandish, but he's not lying. He's not bullshitting. He came out, I saw him, and it's just, I wish he would clean it up a bit, but he went out there and he was talking to the black community, and he wasn't being racist. He was saying, look, he goes, I know a lot of black people agree with me on this. And he was talking about crime in black neighborhoods. And he said, look, the overwhelming people in black neighborhoods are honest citizens. It's that small percentage of creeps that are just ruining their neighborhoods. And he goes, we are sick and tired of listening to it. We are sick and tired of being blamed for it. White people, he meant. He goes, you guys, and he said something very interesting. He said, white people cannot fix your problems inside your neighborhoods. You have to do that. You can't rely on us to do it for you. You have to do it. And of course, he was named a racist, but let's watch this. I'm going to bring it up so I can increase it. All right, so here we go.
Left. We stand against treating anybody, and I love what Nikki said about this. We don't treat anybody different because of their race or their sex. So we have relegated
This is TPUSA, guys.
DEI to the dustbin of history, which is exactly where it belongs.
Yep.
In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore.
Okay.
And if you're an Asian, you don't have to talk around your skin color when you're applying for college, because we judge people based on who they are, not on ethnicity and things they can't control.
And the left loses their mind when people talk like this. They absolutely lose their mind.
We don't persecute you for being male, for being straight, for being gay, for being anything. The only thing that we demand is that you be a great American patriot.
Right.
And if you're that, you're very much on our team.
Well, they can't handle that. That was it. They can't handle that. They just can't. It's just unreal. Let's see what else there is. Now we're going to see the screaming. That's the part I like most. I like to see liberals scream. So let's see. What is this? British anti-racism activist says she is ashamed of being white.
Hopefully be a seed of apology from the white community for what we are seeing, because my colleague today said to me, I'm ashamed of being white, and I feel that too. What is happening is
So
awful.
what are you going to do? Resign? See, that's what they don't seem to understand. That's something that you can't change about yourself, right? So what are you supposed to do? Resign from being white? Resign from being black? Resign from your race? What is wrong with these people? It's divide and conquer. That's what it is. Yeah, let's see what's next. Let's see. Let's go down. I'll do the Epstein thing in a sec. Let's do. Yeah, here's another one. You British guys, we love you. All right, let's go. Here's another one. So, British Labour Party was, and this was done back in 2024, guy. It was like a few months ago. It was October. Okay. So, the British Labour Party, and no, I'll bet you never heard it on ABC, NBC, CBS, none of that, right? Well, here's NBC, actually. They wrote it, but you didn't see it on the air because I didn't. British Labour, and I watch all that stuff so that you don't have to. British Labour Party sending staff to campaign for Harris in U.S. swing states. Guys, that's illegal. They bitched about saying, well, Trump's a puppet of Putin and Putin helped him beat Hillary, as if, right? And it was no, Putin already came out and said, no, we definitely lean towards Hillary. And I think it was because, well, he said, number one, because we didn't know what Trump was like. He was too, you couldn't control him, and he was unpredictable. And that's why he did nothing when Trump dropped the mother of all bombs on all those Spetsnaz guys over in the airport in what was it, Syria? Yeah, they said, why didn't you do something back to the U.S.? And he goes, well, we have no idea what Trump would do. He's too unpredictable. Well, the same thing here. So there you go. The left-leaning British Labour Party is sending nearly 100 members to U.S. battleground states to campaign for Vice President Kamala Harris ahead of the presidential election. Now, think about this, guys. NBC was one of the most far left of the three majors, right? And worse than CBS and worse than ABC. ABC's second, CBS would be third, right, as far as worst. But so they did that, and on the Trump and Putin thing, right? Well, we can't have foreigners in our elections and helping, right? And here they're literally like kind of bragging about it, don't you think? They're like bragging about it. So Sophia Patel, head of operations for the Labour Party, shared the plans via LinkedIn Wednesday. She claimed current and former party staff will target key swing states in North Carolina, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. How did that work out for you? Quote, I have 10 spots available for anyone available to lead to head to the battleground state of North Carolina. We will be, and you know what? The Biden administration screwed that up because remember the hurricane? And they found out that FEMA was told by the Biden White House to ignore anyone with a Trump sign on their lawn. So that's why North Carolina went. We will sort your housing. Patel also noted she plans to arrive in the U.S. 2 weeks prior to the election and stay in Washington, D.C. for a few days afterwards. Patel's profile shows she previously spent time in the Hillary Clinton campaign. So here you go, from October to November in 2016. Okay. So you got people from the Labor Party who are now admitting that they were helping Hillary Clinton in 2016. And this knucklehead Patel was probably screaming about how Putin helped Trump get elected, right?
Okay, but here's a question.
Sure.
We have the First Amendment in this country, including for visitors. If somebody wants to come over and say that they like Kamala Harris, they can do that. Was this person being paid, or what is the exact
Don't know,
law?
but the law says that you can't have governments you can't, and it's not on the UK, it's on us. You're not allowed to accept help, like either money or, and there's like an exchange. I forget what they call it, but there is it's like an in-kind donation, right? It's called like an in-kind. And in fact, think about this, guys. I had YouTube, like reject for my ads. They reject a lot of my stories that I write and a lot of my videos. I use Google ads, right? But and through YouTube, and they rejected them because during the election, because they said, like, if I did an article on what a pinhead Joe Biden was, they said that it was an in-kind donation to the Trump campaign. They literally put that on the rejection notice. And I wrote back and I said, what the hell are you talking about? I am certainly not doing a campaign commercial. I'm doing news, right? But I got rejected a lot for that, right? So but they're not the government, obviously, Google and YouTube, but still, right? So you can't do an in-kind donation, which would be like you would give extra airtime. Like, you can give airtime to a candidate, but you better give it to the other candidate too, or else they're going to look at you.
Yeah, I think the key here is what you've got up on the screen right now, is that if it's a representative of a foreign government,
right,
that's not
and they were.
But this Patel could just say, yeah, I was just over there just on my own accord.
Yeah, and we're supposed to believe it. Okay.
And yeah, and I got a bridge to sell you.
Right. Reacting to Patel's post was Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas, who is a dick. Okay, he's a Republican, but he's a dick. All right, who suggested via X it was yet another reason to vote for President Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has gone nuts, also weighed in, telling the Labor Party it is breaking Federal Election Commission law. See, it did. Foreign nationals are not allowed to be, nationals, she didn't say government. Foreign nationals are not allowed to be involved in any way in U.S. elections, she wrote on X.
Yeah,
Please go back.
That's the part I don't know. I don't know the specific law.
Well, yeah, you can't be a foreign national and start campaigning for any party. Please go back to the UK and fix your own mass immigration problems that are ruining your country. You got to love her. Until she went nuts. Other member, ex-owner Elon Musk simply wrote, "This is illegal," in his own post on the matter. Other members of the Labor Party appeared to be invested in the outcome of the November election. The party's chief operating officer. But see this, guys? NBC wrote this shit a month before the election. And I guarantee you, if they were here for Trump, they would have been all kinds of nasty shit, right? How it's violating the law. But no, they relied on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I'm surprised they put her quotes in there, but they did, to their credit. They used Marjorie Taylor Greene's quotes in there, which is good. But because it's to help a Democrat, then they didn't condemn at all on their own. They didn't, in other words, they didn't do in their news reporting, they didn't do any op-ed stuff. I'm ashamed that she's ashamed. That's right, Bobby. Let's see, next one. Oh yeah, this is another one. There's a lot of stuff going on in England in the news today. I don't know what it is, but a teacher, a UK teacher was referred to an anti-terror program for showing students Trump videos. They're nuts over there. Your government's nuts. A school teacher in England was reportedly referred to the United Kingdom's counter-terrorism program. Are you shitting me? President of the United States. Videos of the President of the United States. And they got to go to a counter. So in other words, is the official government of England saying that Donald Trump, the President of the United States, is a terrorist and accused of a potential hate crime? A hate crime after he showed his students Donald Trump videos. Now, Trump was probably talking about getting rid of illegal immigrants, right? He might have been talking about how the Somalis are terrorist scum. He might, I don't know what, I don't know what he said, but still. So the official rule is that if you show videos of Donald Trump, then you get the United Kingdom's counterterrorism program on your ass. That's just crazy to me. Henley College.
You said United Kingdom. It's the Democratic Republic of the United Kingdom.
There you go. It's the Democratic wing of the United Kingdom, right? Like rhinos are the Republican wing of the Democratic Party. It's the same thing. Henley College, which teaches sixth form students aged between 16 and 18 years old, reported the unnamed teacher to the local authority designated officer, the LADO, which in turn found that his views could be perceived as radical. Oh, wow, that's terrible. Throw him in jail, and therefore should be referred to the government's Prevent Anti-Terrorism program. Now, these were a bunch of jerk-offs who their parents said, I don't like what they're doing here. Turn them in.
And they got block monitors now.
Yeah, and they probably aren't even citizens. All right,
and
the program. Go ahead.
You get to rat on your neighbors.
Oh yeah, well Biden did that. Remember during COVID, if you had like more than 3 people in your home for Thanksgiving, and grandmom came with a pie, you were breaking the law. Remember that they put up a freaking 800 hotline for you to call the government and rat people out for having more than a certain number of people over for Thanksgiving.
And they have the nerve, to call conservatives Nazis.
I'm telling you. And then I know you're being very foolish to have all these people over here. And then they had Fauci, if you remember the one year, he did a speech he was sitting behind a desk and he said, you might want to think about not getting together for Thanksgiving this year. And it's like, are you out of your goddamn mind? It's one of the over 4th of July. It's one of the most American holidays that we have. And he was saying, don't bring because it's the most traveled holiday, that and Mother's Day. It's the most traveled holiday that we have. It's Thanksgiving. And they said, and he was out there telling me, you don't want to travel, right? The program was established to stop individuals, particularly young people, from becoming radicalized and going down a path leading to extremism and terrorism. I'll guarantee you they don't have a program that will prevent young Muslim people from becoming radicalized and going down a path leading to extremism and terrorism. According to, I can't wait to read the comments. I can't see them now, guys. Sorry, I got to get another monitor for that. According to the broadsheet, the LADO report said there is concern that this behavior could cause harm to a child. It's going to smack the child in the face if he watches this video. There could be a criminal offense from the views which could constitute a hate crime. A hate crime is nothing more than a thought crime that was created by libnuts so that they could shut you the fuck up. And it's possible that his promoting of views could be radicalization. Oh, no. Among the videos shown to the U.S. politics class were a video of President Trump's inauguration. Can you imagine the inauguration? And the Daddy's Home music video by Canadian MAGA rapper Tom MacDonald. Gotta love him. Which featured Trump supporting American comedian Roseanne Barr. Let's see. Nigel. Okay, let's get to that. In April, Henley College reportedly sent a teacher a formal letter notifying him that he had been accused of misconduct. The letter is said to have accused the teacher of causing emotional harm to your students as a result of you sharing inappropriate content. What was it, porn stuff? No, it was the president of the United States being inaugurated, right? Especially videos with them and having a lack of balance when presenting political news with an emphasis on right-wing, potentially extremist views. Again, does your government make sure that there is no lack of balance when left-wingers put that kind of shit out there? I'll bet not. Quote, there is concern that this behavior could cause harm to a child. There could be a criminal offense from the views which could constitute a hate crime, and it's possible that his promoting of views could be radicalization. Again, so here we go. Schools caught teaching students that Farage's Reform Party is fascist. Well, I don't know. Well, in our country, it should be allowed. Well, in our country, you're not really supposed to talk politics in school, but they do all the time. And the only ones that get in trouble are the conservative MAGA people. The left never. I mean, think about it. The left we saw on TikTok, they were all with the weird hair and the bone through the nose shit. But the conservatives were not allowed to point that out, right? They got in trouble just for pointing out that the libs of TikTok were nuts. So let's see. Schools caught teaching students that Farage's Reform Party is fascist. A group of top state-funded secondary schools in London suggested Nigel Farage's Reform Party represents fascism. Yeah, okay, there you go.
Well, you know, libs of TikTok got in trouble.
Well, yeah. Well, they doxed her.
Well,
I mean,
they did dox her, but they tried
what's up, Gina?
to sue her, I believe,
Oh,
saying
yeah.
saying she was telling these lies and whatnot. And the trick is that's really kind of laughable, since all she does is repost.
Right. Yeah, she just reposted it. She doesn't even edit it.
She does no editing. She just reposts the ridiculous postings.
Right.
And
I was gonna create an account, Libs of Blue Sky. In fact, I might still do it, and post on X, Libs of Blue Sky. I was gonna, because Blue Sky is now the liberal X, or Twitter, if you will. And so I post there every day, and they go out of their minds. But you know what? There's a lot of conservatives there too, because they always give me like the thumbs up, like the likes over there, which is kind of funny. Yeah, crazy. So let's go into the Jimmy Kimmel horror show.
he's such scum.
What a scumbag he is. Yeah. So Jimmy Kimmel attacks Trump, warns of tyranny booming. I love, like, they never say like what tyranny he's warning us for. Oh, it's going to be tyranny. Well, what is it? Well, it's tyranny. What's it doing? Well, it's booming, you know, and they just never get into it. It's like, well, can you explain a little more? Why are you dumb? You bigot? So he says, we won, the president lost. So where do you hear this? This is great. A comfortably smug Jimmy Kimmel sent a personal message to UK television viewers saying tyranny is booming over here when he delivered a fireside chat across the pond on Christmas Day. The left-wing late-night host has chosen to give an alternative Christmas message on Channel 4 to counter the British monarch's much-viewed annual televised address, as Breitbart News reported. Here you go. The channel began a tradition of airing an alternative Christian message in 1993. Channel 4 said the message is often a thought-provoking and personal reflection pertinent to the events of the year. Kimmel was chosen after the presenter's ABC talk show was yanked off the air in September after he made despicable comments about slain conservative icon and free speech martyr Charlie Kirk. Now, remember that paragraph, guys, because he goes on to say it's a completely different reason, right? He also poked fun at President Donald Trump. He also poked fun at President Donald Trump comments, about White House ballroom renovations after being asked about Kirk's murder. Quote, you may have read in your colorful newspapers, my country's president would like to shut me up because I don't adore him the way he likes to be adored. See, he's blaming Trump for him getting fired. He was fired because of what he said about Charlie Kirk, and his ratings sucked. All right. He told the Los Angeles Times that he attributed the return to Jimmy Kimmel Live to the millions and millions of people he claims fought to get him back on the air in the name of free speech. Well, it's not a free speech issue. All right. If your boss doesn't like the way that you represented their company to the public, that's not a free speech issue because the government's not involved. But he wants you to think, because he's a fucking liar, he wants you to think that Donald Trump is the one that got him fired. Like he's going to contact his network. Hey, get rid of Jimmy Kimmel. Here's Mr. President. We love you, Trump. Come on. Kimmel offered his UK audience no evidence to support the claim of millions and millions of people stood with him, because they didn't. And because so many people spoke out, we came back. Our show came back stronger than ever. Still shitting them in the ratings. We won, the president lost, and now I'm back on the air every night giving the most powerful politician on earth a right and richly deserved bollocking. I guess he thought that was the word he should use when speaking to the Brits. Okay. Elsewhere during his address, Kimmel called the president King Donnie VIII. We don't have a problem with your king. Do you even know their king's name, dickhead? Just the guy who thinks he's our king, he said. It's just crazy. So don't give up on us, Kimmel said. No, you know why all this shit is happening, though? It's because Trump just did some things quietly that is setting the British government on fire right now. Maybe you guys heard about it, maybe you didn't, but I've read multiple things here about it, because the most of the globalist policies that screw over the workers comes out of England. Even though, Brexit and all that, all that happened, but they still, a lot of the bankers and whatnot and politicians in England are the ones behind a lot of the globalist economic policies. And Trump just said, screw you, we're not putting up with that. And he made some moves that are really going to screw them, like from being able to screw everybody else. And so that's why you now have like almost every left-wing network in the world that is promoting anti-Trump stuff from the UK. That's the whole reason for it. So he says, don't give up on us. We're going through a bit of a wobble right now, but we'll come around. That's like, do you have any hot sauce in your bag right now? As Breitbart News reported, the late night host had falsely suggested on Jimmy Kimmel Live Kirk's assassin may have been part of a MAGA gang and mocked Trump's response, which included ordering American flags flown at half staff. Well, it's just unbelievable that they would bitch about that. ABC, Disney, and affiliates responded by briefly pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live from all of their stations with broadcast affiliate Nexstar. And from what I heard, it was never permanent. That it was just a temporary thing because they wanted that whole scenario to die down a little bit, go to a next news cycle, and then bring them back. But he's saying, oh, these millions of people stood up for me.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Rich. The article that I said, the articles that I read basically said, this is it. The last Jimmy Kimmel late night show is going to be, I think it was May.
Yeah, I get that. But what I read later on was that there was no real intention to get rid of him totally.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that.
And if you remember, there was another, who was the other one that did it was Colbert. If you remember, Colbert did get the axe and he blamed Trump too, but it was because he was losing $40 million a year for the company. I mean, you lose $40 million a year. Now, during Trump's first term, they would have been all right with that because CNN was, right? I mean, they would have been all right because ideology trumped capitalism at the time. Pardon the pun, Trump. But it trumped capitalism. But now they're like, nah, we can't do that.
Yeah, but
right?
the question is who actually wanted him back and how did he come back?
No idea.
Yeah. I mean, somebody at headquarters obviously, was busy and some DEI hire at headquarters.
Yeah, okay. So let's go here's one. Here's possibly the wokest man in
You cannot use that at this time.
You've rented what's considered public property and what's considered
hold on.
You cannot use that at this time.
That's not it.
You cannot use that at this time.
You've rented what?
Sorry. I had another one. Hang on. Let me do this one here. Okay.
Please excuse the technical difficulties.
Watch this. Fully sustainable bug burgers in 10 minutes.
This guy is responsible for this.
Today, undercolonizing the countryside. Today, undercolonizing my 2001 Honda Civic.
I saw you do a video taking down the Cross of St. George from a lamppost because...
Okay, fact check. The Union Jack itself is a symbol of colonialism and fascism globally for hundreds of years. Worse than the Nazi flag. If you can't see that,
worse than
you're blind to 200 years of history.
Let's just hear who you are.
I left the Green Party because, for me, personally, the Green Party was too right-wing. Yeah. I believe in encouragement of all children to experiment radically with their gender identity.
What gender are you? You volunteered to fight in Ukraine.
I did. I was stationed with an artillery unit from the Azov Battalion.
You know that the Azov Battalion are a neo-Nazi group.
Yeah, he was a Nazi.
You're even pushing the new COVID booster longer than 5 years now since the beginning of the pandemic. How many boosters have you had now?
I've had 25.
Another sticking point in Britain has been migration, illegal migration. That's had a lot of negative consequences.
Yeah, I don't really know where you're getting that from. These concepts are evil, capitalist, imperial, colonial concepts that have been drilled into us. The truth is, the reason the left consistently fails time and time again is because they don't go far enough.
Do you think there are any downsides to cousin marriage?
I can't see any, no.
Oh, jeez. That's unreal. Ugh. I think people just have way too much time on their hands. Way too much time.
Back in the day,
could be.
if you had to, well, if you wanted to survive, you had
Yeah, they're
to,
different.
you had to hunt your food. You had to, you had to pump water from the well. You had to take care of business.
Right.
Otherwise, you didn't eat.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of
Absolutely.
these people miss that fact.
Absolutely. Here's one. Watch this. So we have a Dominican-born Massachusetts mayor can literally barely speak English. This is how far the left has gone now, because Massachusetts is not a haven for like Somalis or Mexicans or Guatemalans, Venezuelans, So they're Irish, right? Lawrence, Massachusetts. I mean, I know there's parts of Massachusetts that are not, like Boston. Lawrence, Massachusetts Mayor Brian DePena, a Dominican Republic native, requested a Spanish interpreter during a Friday hearing tied to a state police oversight case, according to the Daily Wire. The episode lit up social media and renewed questions about how a big city mayor functions in government and legal settings when he says he needs translation help. The interpreter flap also landed as DePena is already feuding with Massachusetts' top elections office after the state flooded Lawrence polling sites with monitors and police, according to NBC Boston. Quote, "Today I received many complaints and I see many people, not happy because the state interferes when the people need somebody for support." There we go. Eric Doherty. Holy smokes, the mayor of Lawrence, Massachusetts can't speak English, so he begged for a translator. Anyone seeking public office in America should be required to be fluent. But see, the left will come back at him and call him a bigot. Well, why? We're a melting pot. Yeah, but we're a melting pot where nobody melts anymore. Think about that. Nobody melts anymore. And the way that people used to melt was like after the Italians came over, God love them. But after the Italians came over, guess what? We stopped immigration, all immigration, for a while, because we wanted them to assimilate, and assimilate they did. Okay. But with this, we haven't stopped. We haven't done that in 70 years, 80 years, maybe longer. Right. And so now they just keep coming and coming and coming, and nobody wants to assimilate. We don't give them the time to, but they don't want to anyway, because they don't have to. Why? Because the fucking Democrats create programs that they can have Spanish speaking teachers in schools and shit like that. Right. In fact, it's a union thing. You get extra money in pay if you can teach in Spanish, right? And you want to know the sad thing is that most of the parents for these Hispanic kids, they say, "No, I want my kid to learn in English." "Oh no, he's too stupid to do that. We're going to put him in a Spanish only class," right? I mean, the left is nuts. Let's see what he says.
So I'm advised by counsel for the respondent that they indeed encourage this and have substitution and have no objection and waive any objection they would have to the use of their services as a translator here. The division has a concern and has raised an objection based on the fact that counsel, much like me in my capacity as a hearing officer, don't speak Spanish, and therefore we're unable to decide independently whether questions are being translated both directions from the attorney and from the witness accurately. So I appreciate that objection. I do believe that under the circumstances,
this guy's the mayor.
Without objection from the respondent, we could proceed with your services. The risk is that there are.
Do you think the Dominican Republic would have an English translator for an American?
If the American paid for it.
People associated with.
No, they would say, "No, get the hell out." Well, they probably speak English over there anyway, because a lot of tourists go over there.
These proceedings, including the respondent himself and other people on the.
That's just unreal to me. They actually elected a guy that needs an interpreter to understand.
Hey, listen, anybody who is not a naturally born citizen should never hold government office.
Yeah, the sign language people. I remember that. I remember reading about that. Which name? What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? I know the name. What name? What name? Says logistics. I know the name, but can't put my finger on what he represented. It is much better to admit what they don't know than guess. Also, your prompt will improve my understanding. I have no idea who you're talking about. Let me go up a little bit. That is the way to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, well. Sorry. Every scammer in the world speaks it. Yeah, I know. Think about it. Them and air traffic controllers. What's next?
Look, you know where you can't speak English in air traffic control?
Where's that? Iran?
Russia.
Oh, really? How about
and
that?
The province of Quebec.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So you're going in there, you fly into Quebec,
Yeah.
and you hear most of the conversation going on, or a good half of the conversations going on in French.
Yeah.
Is going on in French. So you're flying around. If you don't speak French, you've just lost a whole bunch of situational awareness.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Benedict Arnold was a good officer, but then he became a traitor. Yeah. Let me say. What else are we going to do? Oh, yeah. Here's the years. There we go. They're going to be good. Here are this year's wildest stories of HOAs waging war on Christmas decorations. Homeowners associations have their fair share of haters, and I'm about to help you understand why. A Maryland family has a modest front-lit nativity scene in their front yard for the Christmas season, but their HOA says they can't put it up because it's too distracting. These are the reasons why when you go around an HOA, like, every window trimming is exactly the same. In most of them, you're not allowed to be creative in your own, even if it's tasteful. You're not allowed without permission, and they always go no. All right, so here we go. A Maryland family's modest Christmas nativity scene display sparked a neighborhood. Let's see what
holiday tradition
Look at this.
turned into a legal standoff.
How is this bad?
Joy. I don't know what it is. Why are they targeting these wonderful people?
A family in Germantown, Maryland is facing homeowner association fines starting at $650 and increasing daily over their silent nativity display.
We're not disturbing anybody. The lights are strictly within our boundaries of our land. It's not going outside. It's not touching anybody's yard.
The family says they scaled the display back this year to avoid conflict. Yet the homeowner association still labeled it a nuisance. Attorneys argue the enforcement may be selective, while neighbors remain divided, some calling the display beautiful, others filing complaints.
It's just a wonderful time of the year for everyone. It's reflecting back on our faith and our values. The joy it brings to so many people is beyond words can describe.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I lived in a homeowners association once, and they sent me a letter saying you have an uncoiled hose. You're supposed to coil the hose around an outside thing, right? I didn't have one of those outside things. So I just undid the hose, took it in, threw it in the utility shed inside the house. I had a utility shed inside the house, or a closet. And so the next month I got another letter saying you have an uncoiled hose. And so I wrote back and I sent them a letter back and I said, well, that's not me. That's my neighbor. Get it right next time. So they write me a letter back saying, you know what? Sometimes we make mistakes. We're very sorry. Thank you for letting us know that. Right. And then the next month I got a fine in the mail from them for $50 for having an uncoiled hose. And so I called them this time and I said, I'm laughing. I said, look, you guys like sent me like a fine. He goes, well, we told you 3 months in a row. I said, no, you told me 1 month and I wrote you back and told you that it's not uncoiled. It's my neighbor's. I said, the first month it was me, but I put it inside the house, so I can't have an uncoiled hose. And you guys, I have a letter from you coming back saying with an apology, we're sorry. Sometimes we make mistakes. And I said, so I want you to take that fine. I go, well, no, you got to pay it. And you got to go to court to pay it. Like, so I have to take time off work to go to court to pay this because you made a mistake. They said, oh yeah, well, we'll stand down. I said, you can't cancel. And now they went, no. I said, all right, I think I have a solution that's going to work for everyone. She goes, what's that? I said, I'm going to run for HOA president. The first thing I'm going to do when I get elected is I'm going to fire your ass. And the day that I got elected, I walked into her office, said, "You know why I'm here?" And she went, "Yeah." And I fired her ass. And then Vicky, my wife at the time, she took over because I didn't want to do it. Yeah. So they're for displaced Nazis, as far as I know. Okay. So let's do the next one. Dark Christmas. Let's see. Christmas night. Yeah. Eric farts well. Eric swallows well. Here we go. Representative Eric Swalwell, California, likens Jesus, Mary, and Joseph to illegal migrants on Christmas. Far left. I love how Breitbart does that. Far left. Because the left always, they would say that my left-wing rhino, Brian Fitzpatrick, congressman, would be far-right Republican congressman, and we're all laughing. Far left, Representative Eric Swalwell likened Jesus, Mary, and Joseph to illegal immigrants in a Christmas Day post depicting a nativity scene being raided by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So, may this be the last Christmas we live this nightmare, the California congressman wrote on X. He's running for governor out there. That's why he's doing this. Along with a photo of spray-painted ICE agents breaking into the Bethlehem stable where Jesus was born. Now, think about this. These guys will. I don't know if they did because I didn't read the article, right? Not yet. And how much you want to bet? NBC, ABC, CBS? None of them will say, wow, how blasphemous is that to use the nativity scene on Christmas Day? Was it Christmas Day? Yes, on Christmas Day to make a political point, you jackass you. But none of them will. All right, so that's what they did. ICE going down on the nativity scene. All right, actually, they left Nazareth and they went to Judea. Right. And they got into the little town of Bethlehem. I did my video, came out yesterday. Well, the day before. Anyway, but the Bible does not state that Mary and Joseph were illegal immigrants, clearly explaining that they traveled to Bethlehem because Roman Emperor Caesar Augustus ordered a census requiring everyone to register in their ancestral hometown. And Joseph, I say in my video, Joseph had lineage to the town. He had a link to the town, and that's why they had to go there. Right. So he wasn't an illegal immigrant, but this idiot doesn't know that. Quote, in those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be enrolled. It's because they had taxes that they had to levy. Right. They had all kinds of stuff that they had to do. They had to figure out how much of the military they had to have to protect the town and to, destroy the town if they had to. Right. So that shit costs money and they need to know how much tax they can get. All right. So Caesar Augustus said all the world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria, and all went to be enrolled, each to his own city. So Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the city of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David. See, that city, the only thing about Bethlehem is it links back to David, to the house of David, right? Which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house of the lineage of David, right? So the prevalent left wing claim that Jesus was a refugee is considered to be, by many Christians, to be historically inaccurate, because it is. As Breitbart News' Thomas D. Williams, PhD, described, Jesus was born in Joseph's ancestral hometown of Bethlehem, after which his parents fled with him to Judea when King Herod set out to kill all the baby boys. The family temporarily settled in Egypt, which was part of the Roman Empire at the time. They returned to their home in Galilee when Herod died, and Jesus spent most of his growing up years there. A progressive Illinois church recently came under fire for a similar display after it put up a nativity scene with a zip-tied baby Jesus. Roman soldiers depict. Now, think about it, guys. This is a church doing. It's one thing that the jackass himself does it, right? It's one thing that this a-hole does it, but when a church does that, oh my God.
Let's see that picture. Yeah, that one.
Look at this. Can you believe this? A zip-tied baby Jesus. Unbelievable. Look at it right here. Just a church. Did you guys see that there was a video that American bishops put out? They were progressive left-wing bishops talking about how they were very disturbed by Trump's immigration policies, and that we've never treated immigrants like this. I wrote something back to him basically saying, you're conflating illegal immigrants and immigrants, and you Catholics should know better. And that's why I left your damn church. No offense to Catholics here. I left your damn church 40 years ago because the American Catholic Church has become left-wing in many parts of our country. Now, a lot of them are still traditional Catholics, and I could get into that, but I can't stand when I'm considered a born-again Christian now, and even if my pastor got political and started throwing the progressive crap at me, I wouldn't like that either, right? But they don't. But these Catholic bishops think that they have the right to put a video out like that. It's just mind-blowing to me. So Lake Street Church of Evanston said in a post on Facebook last month that the display reimagines the nativity scene as a scene of forced family separation. See, that's another thing, this forced family separation. A judge told the Clinton administration that they had to separate children. And the reason why was pretty sound, because if you have your kid in the same cell with you and other adults that your parents don't know, right? And they could be violent at any moment, right? Your kid is now susceptible to violence that maybe your parents can't protect them from. So they said, no, you got to separate them, and you get arrested. If I have a kid in the car and I go, I'll be right out, and I go to rob a bank and I get arrested, my kid's not going to go to jail with me. He's not even going to go to the temporary holding cell, right? They're going to put him in foster care, and they're going to actually look up. They're going to ask him who can pick him up. They're going to get, if nobody, they put him in foster care, right? It's very simple, but this one little the nativity scene is a forced family separation. All they got to do is say that many words, right? And I just had to spend like 30 seconds explaining why they're assholes, drawing direct parallels between the Holy Family's refugee experience and contemporary immigration detention practices. Yeah, it's because they're jackasses. That's why. Bunch of jackasses.
You think these people can't get any lower.
I know.
And then they manage to somehow.
Would it be totally nerdish for me to play my Christmas video right now that points that out?
Well, of course it would, but
that's never stopped me in the past.
This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. It's never stopped me in the past. So let me do that now. So if you guys haven't seen it, I put one out every year, but this one was kind of cool, I thought. So let me bring it up. So I'd called it The Night History Held Its Breath. So let's watch. Hey guys, it's me, Rich. History rarely announces when it's about to change. Empires rise with noise. Armies march with banners. Kings issue decrees that echo through marble halls. The most important turning point in human history arrived quietly on an ordinary night in a place most people never even noticed. It happened in Bethlehem, a small Judean town that barely registered on Roman maps. Bethlehem was a small village, likely home to only a few hundred people. It mattered historically because of its association with King David, not because of political or economic influence. Roman records would not have noted a birth there. That omission is precisely the point. The Gospels do not place Jesus among elites or urban centers. They place him at the margins, where history usually forgets. Archaeological evidence suggests that homes in Bethlehem were modest limestone structures, often incorporating caves used for animals. A feeding trough would have been common, not symbolic. At the time, the known world was ruled by Rome. Caesar Augustus governed an empire so vast it seemed permanent. Roman roads stitched continents together. Roman law enforced order. Roman legions crushed any resistance. To Rome, people were numbers. Names were secondary. Compliance mattered more than conscience. So when Augustus ordered a census, it was not unusual. People traveled. Taxes were assessed. Power tightened its grip. It was all part of it. But one journey, recorded almost as an afterthought, would outlast every Roman edict ever written. A carpenter named Joseph left Nazareth and traveled south to Bethlehem because of his lineage. With him was Mary, young, pregnant, and carrying a burden that no census could measure. Bethlehem was crowded. No palace welcomed them. No official noticed them. They found shelter where animals slept. This detail matters. The most influential figure in history did not arrive in wealth, safety, or comfort. He arrived in vulnerability. That night, Mary gave birth to a son. She wrapped him in cloth and laid him in a feeding trough. There were no trumpets, no guards, no witnesses of status, only silence. Outside the town, shepherds kept watch over their flocks. Shepherds were not powerful men. They were not respected men. They lived on the margins. They were exactly the kind of people history usually forgets. You get the theme here? The announcement that no one ever expected came. The silence broke with light. An angel appeared to the shepherds, not announcing Rome's strength or Herod's authority, but something far more dangerous to power. A savior had been born, not a general, not a politician, not a ruler armed with violence, a child. The message was simple and radical. Good news of great joy for all people, not for Rome, not for the elites, not for conquerors, for all people. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, word spread. Wise men from the east followed a star. They did not seek Caesar. They did not look for Rome. They sought a king born elsewhere. Among the ancient sources describing the birth of Jesus, only one account includes the visit of the Magi and the star, the gospel attributed to Matthew. Matthew's account was written primarily for a Jewish audience living under Roman rule. Now, that context explains how Matthew's narrative connects Jesus to King David and emphasizes fulfillment of Hebrew prophecy. It frames events like the star as meaningful signals, not myths. In the ancient world, omens and celestial signs were commonly understood as markers of regime change. Roman historians, including Suetonius and Tacitus, wrote about such signs surrounding the deaths of emperors or the rise of new rulers. So when Matthew includes a star, he is not asking his audience to suspend reason. He is speaking in a historical language they already understood. The Magi were not kings, but scholars, likely from the East, possibly connected to Partha, Rome's rival empire. Their presence hints at an international awareness that something significant had occurred in Judea. Ancient historians record unusual astronomical observations during this period. While debates continue about the nature of the star, its inclusion reflects a worldview in which cosmic signs were believed to accompany world-altering events. For Matthew's audience, this was not superstition. It was historical signaling. Now, this disturbed Herod the Great, a ruler who knew power only through fear. Herod understood something Rome often missed. This child was not a threat due to the presence of armies. It was a threat because of the truth. Herod responded the way tyrants always do, with violence. History records his brutality, but does not remember him for greatness. It remembers him for fear. Empires promised peace through force. This child promised peace through humility. That's why this moment endures. Rome promised order through control. This child offered freedom through love. 2,000 years later, Rome is in ruins. Augustus is a chapter in textbooks, and Herod is just a cautionary tale. But the name spoken quietly in a Bethlehem stable still shapes the world today. Not because he conquered, because he came. What makes the Christmas story endure is not sentiment. It is specificity. It happened in a particular place under a documented political order during a known moment of imperial control. When the Gospels situate the birth of Jesus within the context of Rome, they are anchoring theology in history, making it so that Christmas is not a myth. It is not a fairy tale. It is actual history that unfolded in a real place under a real empire involving real people whose names survived because of what they witnessed. Christmas is not about nostalgia. It is about interruption. The moment when history stopped being about power and became about purpose. The night when God stepped into time, not to rule from a throne, but to walk among us and experience life the way we do. That is why Christmas still matters. It's why the story still endures. And that is why the quietest night in history became the loudest message the world ever heard. All right. Thank you for watching. Merry Christmas. All right. Thank you for enduring. Yeah, I know. I wore white because I usually wear black. I'm wearing red today because of Christmas, but I usually wear black. You guys know that, right? So I wore white just to be opposite on Christmas Day.
I ended up in a black T-shirt. I'm looking at the screen. Looks like I'm in black and white.
Yeah,
it really does. Look at the screen. It looks like it looks.
Yeah,
it's not black and white, folks.
Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate it. Yeah, every year I try to do something for Christmas. This year, I thank you, 42. I appreciate that, brother. It means a lot from you. But not that it didn't mean a lot from you too, Charlie. You know what I mean? But yeah, I tried to do it from like, not to politicize it, but to point out that, look, you know, unlike a lot of other religions, there was a rule that was there. There was an empire that was running things, and they documented it. You know, they took Matthew was the only gospel that actually mentioned Bethlehem, the star, and the wise men. Right? They were from. It meant that the international community now knew that, hey, apparently there's a new king that was born, but he's a king from heaven. Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, very cool. Yeah, the timing in the Romans. It was amazing, like what was going on back then. But yeah, and Augustus, see, the whole thing about Herod wasn't even a Jew, because they knew that they couldn't see the Jews. They gave them shit. They had these rebel armies that were fighting the Romans. They always lost, but they always fought, and they cost the emperor all kinds of money, and they cost him all kinds of treasure to replace shit. And what happened was Augustus was just like, okay, so we're going to have this king, and he's, you're going to go under a king. We're going to make, I think he was Egyptian, I think Herod was. In the beginning, Herod tried to, get the Jews to love him because he built like the largest temple for them that was ever done, right? But they didn't like him anyway because he wasn't their king. Do you know who the king was at the time? Do you know? Jay, who the actual bloodline king was at the time? It was Joseph. Joseph was the actual king at the time.
Was
right? Yeah, Joseph. And they called him a carpenter. That was a word that they used. Oh, thanks, Bess. Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, that was thank you, Linda. Yeah, that was a word they used for someone that like had a business, made money, had a living, didn't have to work for people, worked for himself, hired people. So like, yeah, they called everybody a carpenter. Now, he probably was a carpenter, but I'm just saying that was a term that a lot of them used. Like the name Mary, everybody was named Mary. Well, no, that was a term. The term Mary meant female. And in was it Aramaic, or I forget what it was, but there was a lot of symbolism in those days. But I just wanted to do something that showed like, hey, this shit is actually documented. It's written down and people witnessed it, and it's just too many people that wrote about it. And Tacitus and Suetonius, they wrote about that kind of stuff all the time. They were the historians that wrote everything that happened, so that they would have records for it. But now it's all in tatters, right? But it's like that old joke. They said, well, the Christians are going to lose to Islam. Well, no, I think the Christians already won. Well, how can you say that? Well, what year is it? Well, it's 2025. Well, why? Because some guy 2025 years ago, yeah, I think they won already, right? So let's go to the next one. We did the foreign-born prick, 30,000. Let's do the Epstein stuff. I know you guys are like, yeah, I want to hear about Epstein shit.
The only thing I'll tell you,
What's that?
We got to know about this, but I am so goddamn tired about hearing about Epstein.
So am I. I am too, because you know what? It doesn't pay my bills. And you know what it is, though? We wanted for so many years for accountability. We wanted somebody like, first of all, our government is what built Epstein, right? That and the Mossad, and I think there was one in Europe. Was it Romania? I can't remember what it was, but the thing is that he was a honey trap. That's all he was. But he used kids. But he had to use kids because think about it. If he used a stripper or he used a hooker, an adult, right? So what would happen? So he got caught. All right, his marriage is over, but he can still, run for office, right? He can still govern, right? But you get a kids in there, forget about it, right? That's disgusting, but that's what our governments are. Read Whitney Webb's One Nation Under Blackmail. She gets into everything. It's crazy, but she gets into it all. But everybody wants to know. Like when is it going to happen? I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we know, and it's just like you scratch mine, I'll scratch yours. Why do you think we haven't chucked Ilhan Omar out? Because she probably knows too many names and too much where the bodies are buried.
No, I think it was because, and I agree with you on that, but I think it's also because she'll cry the brown person being thrown out, racist. She always does. They never even mention her race. If they say because she's a Muslim, they'll say, it's racism. When is Muslim a race?
Yeah, but Rich, all she needs is a few defectors, and you can either threaten them, blackmail them, or pay them. So yeah, she's never going to be caught.
Do you know what? I'm going to adhere to this. Thank you, Linda. This won't be fun. Can't you do something else? We just did Bethlehem. She's absolutely right. Thank you. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I'm kind of over Epstein. Let me know when some of the people who did do wrong get indicted. That's all I want to know.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we're going to skip that. You're right. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it. Love you, girl. So let's see. What else can I do? There's something going on right now with Rubio. They're talking about it's Pax Americana over. Is the U.S. quitting NATO? Secretary of State Rubio's response stuns allies. Let's see. Let's just pull that up for a little bit. I hope we can put it up. We should be able to. It's YouTube, but who the hell knows?
Totalmente. Secretario Rubio, ¿hay alguna prueba o por qué esta administración llama a Gustavo Petro? Quisiera saber por qué esta administración llama a Gustavo Petro un líder del narcotráfico. Y por último, secretario, si usted considera eventualmente ante la invitación que hace Gustavo Petro ahora al presidente Trump o a usted ir a Colombia y conversar con Gustavo Petro.
No, nosotros conversamos con cualquiera. Desafortunadamente es una persona que no.
Oh well, I'm not wading through that. So I thought it would be really good, but I'm not wading through that.
Why don't we do something?
I was going to do the most radical laws. California's five most radical.
I'm thinking of the top 10 sinful cities. That'll kind of be a little relaxing.
Oh yeah. We'll do that first then, and we'll do the other one. Oops.
Yeah, and then we'll do the other one.
Yeah,
I want to keep it a little lighter.
Yeah, hang on. I got to go back in because I just closed my other window like a dumbass. So hang on. Now I gotta. All right, there we go. Got to do that. Holy mackerel. Something wrong. All right. So I'm sorry. What was it? The top what? It's right underneath.
The top 10 cities.
Top 10 cities.
Yeah. So I know where to go on vacation.
There you go. Most sinful city. That's right. This is from Slay News, which is actually pretty good. Slay puts out some good stuff for conservatives. All right, here we go. America's top 10 most sinful cities, named and shamed. All right. A new Wallet Hub analysis ranking the most sinful cities in America is drawing attention. Now, a lot of the scumbags, I got to go there, right? A lot attention, but not the kind most city governments want. While officials typically highlight their climate, schools, economic growth, or quality of life, this report focuses instead on what Wallet Hub calls the darkest corners of America. Okay, here we go. According to the survey, Las Vegas, unsurprisingly, topped the list as the nation's #1 most sinful city.
This is my shocked face. This is my shocked face.
I know. It was followed by Houston, Los Angeles, Philadelphia. And Philadelphia maybe because it used to be the heroin capital of the world until they went out. What are they doing? K out there? Jimmy knows because he follows that one guy. Jimmy, if you're still here, what Jimmy from Philly, what is the drug they're using now? Is it ketamine? What is it in there? I don't know.
Oh, good. At least we're on the list. Denver landed at number 6.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so Denver landed number 6 nationwide. The placement was noted by Denver's KDVR News, which reported this city's high ranking. Behind Denver were Miami, Dallas, Phoenix, and New Orleans.
Okay, stop there.
Sure.
What do you notice? What is the common factor about every city you just listed? Go back. Show
well,
the rest
Miami,
of them.
Dallas, Phoenix,
Okay, show
they're
the
all
rest.
left wing.
Show
New
them all.
Orleans.
Show them all. Okay,
Yeah.
Houston, LA, Philly, Atlanta.
Right, all
Miami,
Democrat run.
Dallas, Phoenix, New Orleans, Denver.
Yeah, they're all
What's the common?
Democrat run.
Bingo.
Shitholes. Yeah, right.
Democrat mayor. Every one of them.
Yeah. Well, I always say that the Democrats for years. Some cities have not elected a Republican in 100 years.
Yeah,
and they all have the same problems.
Yeah, I don't know about 100 years. Maybe.
No.
I'm
I know. I can name them. I have them listed.
I'm sure you're right. I've heard ridiculous things like 50 and 60 years.
Oh yeah, but there's a couple that are like 100 years. They have not had
I'm honestly not surprised.
Like Camden. Yeah. But they all have the same problems. High crime, like high drug and alcohol, abuse, like high poverty rates, high violence, all that. They all have, it's all because of progressive policies.
And here's something that'll shock the heck out of you, that Denver's on there, and totally coincidentally and unrelated, we have invited tons and tons of illegal immigrants.
Oh yeah.
Totally
they all had to go into
unrelated.
blue sanctuary cities. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
That shit like fell on. Researchers used 37 data. Oh, let me see. Wallet Hub evaluated cities across 7 behavioral categories: anger and hatred, jealousy, excesses and vices, greed, lust, vanity, and laziness. Researchers used 37 data points, including violent crime, obesity rates, and even online searches for illicit behavior.
Oh,
Denver
nice.
scored high in anger and hatred metrics. You angry bitch. And the anger and hatred.
Well, you're right, but that has nothing to do with Denver.
I know you're not in Denver, right?
I'm north of Denver.
Okay.
But I'm still an angry bitch.
There you go. Okay. All right. We got that part right. All right. The angry and hatred category included factors such as violent crime, bullying, hate groups, gun deaths, and mass shootings. Denver scored particularly high in this area. A finding KDVR noted is not a surprise to many Colorado residents. Wallet Hub's ranking comes as Colorado continues facing national scrutiny for repeatedly targeting Christian individuals and organizations in high-profile legal battles. Because there were all a bunch of progressives in government there right now. You escaped Canada, no offense, guys, but you may have to escape Colorado now. The state has spent more than a decade litigating against Jack Phillips of Masterpiece Cake Shop, even after losing at the Supreme Court. They don't want to admit they lost. The same is true of its attempt to force a Christian web designer to violate her beliefs, another case ultimately rejected by the Supreme Court. Colorado officials are currently defending a policy that would restrict Christian counselors from making faith-based statements, and the state has faced lawsuits for trying to impose its radical gender ideology policies on a Christian children's camp. Most recently, Colorado was sued over alleged anti-Christian discrimination in its preschool program. Really, they're really slamming Denver in this article. Denver also ranked number 2 for excesses and vices. The survey's lust category examined adult entertainment establishments, online services for terms such as XXX, XXX Entertainment, and Tinder, and teen birth. I'm sure Tinder loved that advertisement, right? In addition to its score on anger and hatred, Denver ranked number 2 in the nation for excesses in drinking and vices, according to Wallet Hub's evaluation. What's the best time to go to Denver, Jade? No, I'm kidding. Evaluation of dozens of U.S. cities. While the methodology focuses on statistical indicators rather than moral judgments, the findings place Denver among the nation's most vice-heavy urban centers. It's a distinction unlikely to appear in any of the city's tourism brochures.
Now, hell and damn, I am so proud of my...
There you go. You guys got on the map, baby. Now,
I'm so proud of us.
What was wrong with this article? I saw it right away. They're doing all that shit on Denver, okay? But they said that there were 10. So why did and then all these categories?
Well, where is this out of?
Where's greed, where it's actually Slay News, which is really good.
Where are they? Where are they?
What, Gray or Slay? Oh, I don't know.
I mean, maybe they're focusing on maybe they're focusing on
well, probably Colorado, because it's no longer purple, it's blue. That's probably why.
They're probably just focusing on Colorado. But
I noticed we had greed, lust, vanity, and laziness. Well, who are the cities? Like my old city, Philadelphia. You know, I would like lust. You know, maybe laziness, because
lust is okay. Yeah, a little lust.
I know lust is all right. You know,
a little lust.
And you know, I could lust after food, vanity, and laziness.
There you go.
Right? Yeah. You know,
a little lust in the right doses, in the right places.
Yeah.
You know,
I saw some of those bent over druggies supposedly in Japan. Really? In Japan now. Japan was like a police state for years. Did you know that? The actual police, like, you know how, if you're Catholic, guys, right? The Catholics in here, you know how your priest, your parish priest, would come around the house like once a year, and he'd come in and he'd sit down, and you get out the Entenmann's and, you know, get some tea or something, whatever he wants, or a glass of water, and something stronger. And he would sit there and he'd talk to you, and he'd fill out this questionnaire, he'd ask you questions, you know, and then he'd give a blessing and you'd leave. Right? Well, the same thing happens in Japan, only the police do that. And they ask you questions that are incredibly personal, like things like, so how often do your wife and you have sex a week? Like, they ask you that shit, and you're like, wait a minute, and you have to answer. Matter of fact, you have to answer. And they chalk it up to the reason why they ask, like, really even more personal questions, right? Like do you go over or under with the toilet paper? You know, like, they ask all this shit because they say that it helps with crime, because, you know, it's an island, so it's like getting kind of population problems and shit like that. So they're saying that they want that data so that if somebody commits a crime, they'll be able to use that type of data to figure out who did it, if it was in that area. I always call BS on that, because I always thought they just wanted to be able to know who you were and go after you if they wanted to set you up for something.
Yeah, they just want the data.
Yeah. I always thought that was BS.
Yeah, when I was a kid, you know, we had nothing to do with the church in our town, but every year they sent us a bill for tithes, right, and plus the arrears that my dad never paid. So we'd get this bill, and it's got 5 years of tithes on it.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And there was and my dad never paid it. There was an incident I remember. One of our neighbors, one of the women who lived down the street, she was over. Remember, my dad was there. My mom was not home. But all of a sudden, the parish priest decided he drives up and was knocking on the door. And Lillian, she is absolutely terrified. She says, because she's in shorts and a tank top. Okay. And she's going on about how you can't let them see me like this. This is so sinful. Hide me in a closet. What are we going to do? You can't. And my dad says, well, I'm not going to invite him in. And she says, what? No. I mean, that's impossible. You have to let him in. He's got to come in, bless the house. No, Dad says, I'm going to tell him thank you and not invite him in. And she just couldn't understand. It didn't even get to the point where you can't do that. She just didn't have the understanding,
right,
that was even a possibility. It was even before that you could do that. It was like she was going nuts. And my dad didn't let him in, and everything was fine.
Yeah, crazy, huh? Because the priest back in the day, the priest used to be the guy that was like your moral leader in the community, and why would you not invite him in? Really, what they wanted to know was why you aren't paying in the envelopes.
Yeah. Why aren't you returning the envelopes?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We paid for those envelopes.
And we never had anything. We never had anything to do with the church in our town.
Exactly. Now let's do California's 5 most radical laws set to come into force in 2026. Let's bring it up. Here we go. For our California guys. Look at that shit-eating grin. California Democrats approved another massive wave of legislation this year, with Governor Gavin Newsom signing 794 new laws that will begin shaping the state starting in 2026. And they're all going to be, this is going to be great. While Sacramento pushes through nearly 1,000 bills each session, many residents only learn what's been approved once the changes hit their lives. Here are the most consequential laws poised to redefine policy in the nation's largest Democrat-run state and likely influence other blue states that follow California's lead. They say everything starts in California and works its way across the country. Number one, fast-track caregiver designations for detained or deported parents. Can you imagine? They made a law for that. That's going to cost you money.
And so does that mean that you won't be deported because now you're the caregiver for a U.S. citizen?
Newsom signed AB 495. I guess that stands for Assembly Bill. A bill that allows parents, including illegal aliens, to designate a temporary caregiver using a simple one-page affidavit. Like, can you take care of my kids while I'm being deported? The form.
Okay, that's my question. Does the parent fill this out, and because they're a caregiver, they don't get deported, or this is just making it easier to have somebody?
I guess we'll find out. The form does not require a court order and can be assigned to non-relatives, raising concerns about exploitation. Yeah. So in other words, if they're worried about exploitation, Jade, that means that it's in case you get detained or deported because you're an illegal, your kids are going to be taken care of.
Okay.
All right. Because they probably still believe, they didn't get the memo, they still believe their kids are citizens because they were born here, right? The bill's Democrat author, Assembly member Celeste Rodriguez, guilty, said the measure prepares child care providers to prepare for ICE raids. Can you believe this shit? And helps families maintain care arrangements during detention, deportation, or hospitalization. Y'all are paying for that. You guys are paying for those documents to be created and for people to key them into their computer systems and for the computer systems to put them into data storage. You guys are paying for all that shit for illegal aliens. Holy shit. Critics warn that the affidavit requires only minimal documentation and could easily be abused, right? Republican lawmakers argued the form leaves gaps that could easily be exploited, including by traffickers. Number two, California, can you believe this? California effectively bans new Glock purchases. Can you believe this shit? They violated the Second Amendment straight up. AB 1127, and they say, the Second Amendment is only for the federal government. Bullshit. You guys can't have it both ways. You can't say that the 14th Amendment is that magical amendment that allows everything to apply to the states, right? You can't say that except if it's the Second Amendment, right? AB 1127 makes most new Glock, and there's a reason why they do it, which is goofy, new Glock models illegal to purchase in California unless the company redesigns them to prevent the installation of Glock switches, small parts criminals use to convert handguns into automatic weapons. Once again, they're going to punish law-abiding gun owners because it's something that the criminals, that they don't use bail, they don't put bail on them, and they let them out of the prisons, right? This is liberal logic. Democrats claim the law targets illegal modifications, not lawful buyers. But gun rights advocates say the law simply punishes citizens, there you go, while leaving criminals unaffected. Criminals do not obey laws.
That's the definition.
That's why they call them criminals.
That's the definition of a criminal.
Yeah, thank you. It's pretty sure that's why they call them a criminal.
I got a funny story about this, though. So
go ahead.
The current Glock generation was the Glock 5th generation. Okay. So when this came out, and there's a big controversy as to whether Glock did this because of California's new law or they were doing it anyway because they wanted to update their product.
Right.
So they brought out what they call the V models, like V for Victor.
Right.
So they came out and they were very proud that they readjusted the trigger mechanism so that the Glock switches wouldn't fit. Now, guess what happened within 3 days of these being introduced?
What's that? What do you think?
Leave it to a redneck with a Dremel tool.
There you go.
Okay.
Love it.
So all of a sudden, these new special you see, the thing about a semi-automatic pistol or rifle is they're just broken machine guns.
Yeah.
Because they all have the potential. So it was very funny, though, that, yeah, within 3 days, there's stuff online about making these
hurry up
V models
right.
fully auto. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
Let's go to number 3, which is going to drive you guys insane. Ready? Schools must alert everyone when ICE steps foot on campus.
Lovely.
You're paying for this shit. Bobbity, you're paying for this shit. SB 98 requires every K through 12 school and college to send ICE alerts to families and students anytime federal immigration officers appear on campus for any reason. Now, I would argue in court that is blocking ICE agents, that it's interfering in federal law enforcement. Because think about it, federal law enforcement doesn't just jump into town and go, hey, there's a Hispanic looking guy. Hey, you come here. They don't do that shit. They got warrants that they're filling out. Right? They're looking for particular people. So if the school is going to notify people and the people are illegal aliens, the parents, right? And they're going to notify them, that means they're not going to be where ICE determined they were going to be during an arrest. So that is interfering with federal law enforcement. And now it's law inside, and they don't, you know what? They don't have the authority. States don't have the authority to do immigration law. The federal government only has it. That's part of the enumerated powers. There's 18 powers that the federal government has. And that's on Article 1, Section 8. Y'all can look it up. And it says, an uniform rule of naturalization. It means immigration. All right. The states can't do it. You know, and they say, well, we're not going to interfere. We're just not going to help you. Well, this is interfering. So that should be struck down. Districts must build these alerts into school safety plans by March 2026. Democrats say the alerts prevent surprise enforcement actions. I don't think they're going to schools anyway. I don't think they want to involve children, because what if an illegal is carrying a weapon or he's carrying a firearm? They don't want guns going off inside schools. Critics say now if an illegal runs inside of a school, they will chase them because they have the right to do that. Right? Critics say the law weaponizes the school system to interfere with immigration enforcement, injects politics into safety protocols, and encourages panic during lawful operations. Fucking A, it does. Number 4, a state-run system to determine reparations eligibility. Now, can you believe this? California is getting into the reparations business, right? What's really funny is that California was never a slave state. That's the truth. California was never, ever, ever a slave state. But Gavin Newsom wants black voters to come back to the Democrats by saying, yeah, we're going to give you reparations at the expense of all the white people that live here. What a racist prick this guy is. That's what the Democrats in California are doing. They're trying to get black voters to come back. Shit, if I was a black voter, I'd go, all right, man, maybe I'll vote for you. Give me the money. And then I'd vote Republican anyway. Right? It says, while Newsom publicly distanced himself from some reparations proposals, even though he was probably in the backroom deals, he signed SB 437, which directs the California State University system to design the official method of verify. Yeah, and what would college professors do wrong, right? The official method of verifying whether someone is a descendant of enslaved African Americans. Black people don't really like to be called African Americans. They like to be called Black Americans. That's the truth. The only time they accept it, I've had too many of them tell me, friends of mine, the only time they accept it is when you're talking about something political. The African American group, polled at so-and-so, right? They like to be called Black, and I don't blame them. All right. However, slavery was never legally permitted in California under its state constitution. Exactly. CSU may receive up to $6 million to build the genealogical and documentation system. Beginning in 2026, 2027, universities must design the framework and report their progress until full implementation in 2029, 2030. Hopefully a Republican I would like to see a black Republican, like Larry Elder, become the governor and just shut this shit down. Setting up the infrastructure for a future statewide reparations program. I donated to him, by the way. when he in that election. Supporters call, because I listened to him for like 10 years every day on talk radio. Supporters call it the next step in California's reparative justice agenda. Critics point out that CSU is already strained by budget issues and enrollment declines. They're never going to be able to pay for it. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to demand that the feds send the money for it, which means we all are going to be paying reparations for a state that doesn't need to be repaired. They were never a slave state. There you go. New seatbelt fit test mandates for teens. We don't have that. It's just stupid. Let's go. Oh, is that it? That's the all right. So that's it. So goofy laws by Democrats. Then again, you know, Philadelphia still has a law on the books that says that you cannot herd your cattle down Broad Street.
Why do we have the chats up?
Oh, I put them up there just for kicks. I wanted
there.
to see if anybody was going to say anything. I took them off. Yeah, I just wanted to see if anybody would say anything. Poor kids, it's worse to get under the desk. Yeah, and the A-bomb. Remember that? Yeah, just get under the desk. That whole atomic bomb thing. You'll be safe.
What was his name? The turtle?
You'll be safe. Oh, I forget. You're
Do
right.
you remember the turtle?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I forget. I got to look it up.
I wonder if you get in trouble if you play one of those old bids.
Yeah, the duck and cover. Bert the turtle. Duck and cover.
Bert. Yeah, duck and cover.
Yeah, it was a 1951 civil defense thing.
Will you get in trouble if you play one of the?
If I do, I'll just remove it.
These are great.
Oh, this is 9 minutes. I wonder. Hold on.
No, there should be a bunch of them that are like 30 to 60 seconds.
Yeah, this is 9 minutes of the 30 to 60 seconds.
Oh, we'll just play one or two.
Yeah. Let's see if I can. I hopefully I can. I can't see why. Well, maybe they do have. If there's music in it, yeah, I could get in trouble.
Just mute it.
I would just remove it.
Mute
right?
it. Just mute it.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? All right. Cool.
Mute.
We shall mute. There we go. So let's look at this.
Yeah, you can't hear the dialogue though.
I know, that's the thing. Nah, can't do it. It's a song. They probably got a content ID. Can't do it. I'm gonna have to remove that now.
Well, it was not on long enough. You're probably fine.
Yeah. Let me see. No, they hit you no matter what now. Believe me. Let me see.
Anyway, why don't you leave a link for people to look at that? They're hilarious.
Yeah, I will. I'll put a link in the description, guys. Yeah, they are funny. They are pretty good.
They're
You're like, oh my
hilarious.
God, people actually believe that shit.
Yeah,
So let's
the whole
do
duck and cover thing.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. But Trump-like candidate elected in Latin America. Yeah, another Trump-like candidate got elected in Latin America. Let's go over that one. Gotta love these guys. Hold on. Yeah, let's put that there. Let's pull it up. Here we go. All right, cool. This is PJ Media. So let's go. There we go. Does anybody know the flag? The recent presidential election in Honduras felt like the never-ending story in recent weeks. But we can officially report that Nasri Tito Asfura is the winner. He's the conservative candidate who was backed by Donald Trump earlier this year. Now, let me say this. It's because I think it's because of Argentina, right, that elected their fiscally conservative Trump-like guy. He comes off like a little nuts, but he's got the right idea, and he's turning their economy around. So then that was the beginning of saying, yeah, all us countries down here, we're sick of socialism, living in poverty and having to run to America illegally. It's all right to vote if you support Trump. If you support his policies, it's all right to vote for people that support his policies. Says it was close. Asfura received just over 40% of the vote, while center-right candidate Salvador Nasrallah got about 39.5%. That is pretty close. The far-left socialist candidate Rixi Moncada, who was handpicked by the sitting president, received about 19%.
So 80% voted conservative.
Right. She got the Kamala vote. That's what, the inauguration is scheduled for January 27, 2026. And hopefully the guy lives that long. Hopefully. Yeah.
Honduras. Good on them.
I know. How about that? Good on them, man. Did I do the Biden Christmas family photo?
That was the first thing
the first one. Yeah. Here's one. Ready? Rob Reiner's son. All right, we're going to do this. All right. Like I said in the beginning, fact checkers, I always say that, nobody should have died the way he died. He was a total freaking meathead with politics, but I heard that outside of politics, that he was like the sweetest, nicest man you ever wanted to meet. But within politics, he was a real libnut. All right. So Rob Reiner's son, Nick, reportedly received $10,000 a monthly allowance before allegedly murdering his parents. And he didn't pay a single bill because he put it all up his nose or in his arm or whatever. All right. So Nick Reiner was living an exceptionally cushy lifestyle, courtesy of his parents, for he was accused of horrifically murdering them. Quote, Nick was getting $10,000 a month from his mom and dad, one insider told an outlet. He lived rent-free in the guest house, had food provided, and didn't pay a single bill. Everything was taken care of. Despite their support, it sounds like they were like, look, he's got a drug problem. Let's just throw him in the house, tell him just don't get arrested again, and we'll pay for everything, right? So despite their support, the 32-year-old allegedly fatally stabbed his father, famous Hollywood director, actor, whatever, writer, Rob Reiner, and his mom, Michelle, sometime in the early hours of Sunday, December 14th. Wow, it was a lifestyle only people can only dream of, right? So when Harry Met Sally's director's drug addict son had utilities, groceries, and even extras, a full safety net, the source added. It was a lifestyle most people could only dream of. Nonetheless, Nick struggled with mental health and substance abuse issues throughout his life. They wanted him comfortable and supported, another insider noted. But that didn't mean he was dealing with challenges behind closed doors, that he wasn't dealing with them, right? So there he is right there next to dad. All right. The troubled Nepo boy, or was it Nepo boy? Nepo, whatever, who had been in and out of rehab since he was 15, even wrote a film, Being Charlie. And it was kind of like a documentary style of this is Spinal Tap type thing, that kind of, documentary. It was really terrible about his experience with drug addiction. Others close to the family described Nick as self-destructive, entitled, toxic, and awkward. It's also been revealed that he was diagnosed with schizophrenia prior to his parents' deaths. Okay, so that's that one. Now, the follow-up that I have for this is, where's the dot?
Yeah, that means he'll never be held responsible.
Maybe, possibly.
Diagnosis of schizophrenia?
No, possibly, I'm saying. But Nick Reiner hunkered down in trendy hotel with sweeping, priceless seaside views, allegedly after killing parents Rob and Michelle. Isn't that crazy? Los Angeles. Is it Nepo baby? Nepo? I don't know.
I've always heard Nepo baby.
Nepo, because of nepotism, I guess. Nepo baby junkie. I look at the difference in the language between the last one and the New York Post. A Nepo baby junkie, Nick Reiner, checked into a trendy beach hotel. Let me get rid of that. Trendy beach hotel with an indoor fire pit and sweeping views of bougie Santa Monica, allegedly after slitting the throats of parents Rob and Michelle Reiner. The privileged accused killer's son of the legendary Hollywood director was in enough of a frame of mind to find his way to the Pierside Hotel, just steps from the Tony, California town's iconic pier, in the pre-dawn hours of December 14th. Sometime after law enforcement sources say he is believed to have killed his parents in their Los Angeles mansion roughly 5 miles away. Oh, wow, man. The lobby of this hotel, apparently. There it is. It looks like a crown, like a child's crown. Nick, 32, would have strolled past the hotel's lobby's quaint Christmas tree, upscale restaurant, and cozy fire pit sitting area featuring wicker chairs to get to the check-in desk to rent a $300 a night room at the primely located lodging between the pier and a light rail station, which has a line leading directly to the location where he was arrested later that night. He couldn't have picked a more public place to hunker down for a while, although at that time of morning and in the typically teeming area, he wouldn't have registered on anyone's radar. Maybe he thought that's how he would get. I was over there all day. Yeah, he forgot about the cameras in the house. But he was jittery, appearing tweaked out when he arrived, witnesses told TMZ, and thus likely oblivious to the hotel's features, including its lobby with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a semi-panoramic view of the local area. The accused murderer's second-floor room would have also afforded him his own private, stunning view of the ritzy seaside. In other words, they're trying to say, yeah, his parents gave him so much money that he could afford all these lavish things that you and I would go, that'd be a great weekend, right? And yet he slit their throats because he had an argument with them earlier in the evening. That's pretty messed up. That is pretty messed up. Yeah, Charlie, I was saying last week that, or was it the week before, that I thought he was one of the best directors that we've had in modern days. And he really was. He did really good movies. I mean, even this is Spinal Tap was really well done, But I mean, he, A Few Good Men, When Harry Met Sally, he The Princess Bride, for God's sake.
Oh, did he do A Few Good Men?
Yeah, he did, and he did a lot of good stuff. He was just a whack job when it came to politics. That's all. Wow, we're down to 8 people. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, do we want to shut down early? Everybody's obviously got other things to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, we got 25 minutes. I was only going to do, guys, I wasn't feeling well earlier. I was like real tired and whatnot. And then I just got a spark. I wasn't going to do it because remember last week I said I might not do it, but then I was like, nah, let's be consistent.
Do we want to wrap up? Do we want to wrap up a bit early tonight?
Yeah, let's just do one more video. I think we got a video we wanted to do.
I'm kind of interested in this.
Tim Wall's daughter, or which one?
No, I'm kind of interested in North Korea's nuclear submarine.
Oh, really? All right. Let's see. There's a video on it. Hang on. Let's go.
I don't know if it's just a picture or a video.
No, it's the woman talking. She gives some context, but here we go. So let's go.
North Korea released photographs showing the progress allegedly made on a nuclear-powered submarine. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un inspected the burgundy-colored hull of the vessel inside an assembly hall. He was accompanied by senior officials as well as his
Where is Giant Rubber Ducky?
daughter. The construction of the submarine comes in a response to South Korea's plan to also acquire a nuclear-powered submarine, a move which Kim Jong-un described as an offensive act that would escalate military tensions in the region. The North Korean leader said the South Korean plan demonstrated why North Korea's army needs to modernize.
Ugh. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that might be interesting.
It kind of was. Yeah. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So what was it? Oh, Tim Walz. Yeah, his daughter, his woke daughter, goes out and gives a speech. But I think they're going to highlight. So Tim Walz's daughter wishes illegal aliens a Merry Christmas. Not you or me, but illegal aliens. So here we go. Let's go over to X to play it.
Today, I am holding all of our neighbors that ICE has been terrorizing near and dear to my heart and sending them love and light, as well as all of our unhoused folks and just anybody that may be struggling.
Did you get that? Our unhoused folks, homeless people, people with drug addiction, criminal records, schizophrenia, right?
Right now, I'm holding very close to me, and I hope that you can all do so as well. This past year has been a tough one for all of us, but I'm so proud of the work that I have done in this awesome community and everything that you guys do every day. And yeah, happy holidays. Happy holidays. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday with those you care about. And yeah, I'll see you soon.
Wasn't her mother the one that said that she loved to open the windows during the St. George Floyd riots and smell the rubber tires burning because it smelled like victory and freedom? Wasn't she the one?
I can't remember, but I remember that the thing. She is a miracle baby. Do you know that?
No, it's a miracle she survived. I don't know what.
She's a miracle baby because ask me what woman in the world is going to look at Tim Walz and the first thing they think of is I want to make a baby with that man.
Yeah, there you go.
And think that he's able to do it.
Right. That is so right. Let's. I have a moron alert, which we always have to do. So let's make this the last one.
Okay.
So I have a moron alert. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who, if you guys know, she's a congresswoman from Florida, Democrat, and she was the chairwoman of the DNC during the 2016 election, the one who lied about the Russians hacked the server and all that shit, right? So here we have Wasserman Schultz, Trump wasting hundreds of millions of dollars deporting people.
declined to answer questions about that reported plan. Let's bring in now Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz from Florida. Congresswoman, first, I want to get your reaction to the reporting from the Washington Post. MS Now, I should mention, has not verified this plan independently, but what questions does even the reporting raise for you?
Well, thanks for having me, Ariel, and happy holidays to everyone. You know, this is what happens when you have a president who has an incredibly unpopular agenda.
Wrong.
It's the number one reason he was elected in 2016, and the economy and this is the two number one reasons he was elected in 2024.
And you notice she says happy holidays, doesn't
She
say
didn't say
Merry
Merry Christmas. Well, she's Jewish, but she didn't say Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. She didn't say anything. So she said Happy Holidays. She is the quintessential. Look, she's the one that when the FBI came to her and said, look, we would like to take a look at your servers because you said they were hacked by the Russians. We'd like to confirm that. And she said, go away. You're not going to see it. And then they were like, no, we're going to come in and take a look. She goes, do you know who the hell I'm going to tell that you just told me? We're a private organization. We're not government. You can't do it. We're going to hire a private forensics team. They hired CrowdStrike.
No, you just got to take my word for it.
Yeah. So they went, the FBI tried 3 more times. It was 4 times total. They tried to get, the FBI has like the premier forensics labs in the world because they got all the money, right? They get to hire the best people and all. They could have figured out right away that there was no Russians that hacked them, right? But she said no. But that's fine. Okay. You're a private organization. But she had the freaking balls to go on to MSNBC and do an interview where she said that, you know, we're one of the 2 top political parties in America. And you would think the FBI would have given like a second look at the fact that we said that we thought our servers were hacked by the Russians, but we heard nothing. And so the guy that was the special agent in charge, he came out and went on a different news program and said, you know, they asked him, why did you? He goes, are you kidding me? He goes, she doesn't know what she's talking about because we went 4 times to her personally and she shot us down 4 times. She told us that they were going to hire a private forensics firm to do the job. And she even threatened us that, you know what she threatened them with? That when Hillary becomes president, they're going to lose their job. That's what she threatened them with. And so then they get her on there and they go, so, you know, what this, you know, he said this on this other news program. And she says, well, I don't know what he's talking about. He's a liar. They never once contacted us. So what did he do? He then comes back and he has the receipts. He's got text messages, emails, and the phone and phone calls that were made to her office, and then visits they made there. The 302s that they wrote. I think it was the 302. What do they call? I forget. Yeah, I think they're called 302s, where you got to when you do an interview, you have to write it down by law. The feds have to, FBI has to write down everything that was said, done, heard, smelled, tasted, whatever, right? So they don't forget anything later on while it's still fresh in their mind. But can you believe that shit? And she just lied her ass off. So let's hear.
The worst or second worst since they've been measuring. You pull out the Autocrat 101 playbook and you scapegoat the vulnerable. And
okay. The Autocrat 101 playbook and scapegoat the vulnerable. You mean like how you guys tried to force Americans to take a vaccine that was experimental medicine? Is that what you're talking about? That kind of fascism? Is that what you're talking about?
that's what this is about. I mean,
are you talking about an executive order that was signed on day 1 of Biden's regime, where he said that companies would be fined penalties if they didn't hire illegal aliens? You mean that? That is that what you're talking?
The reports out of the immigration detention centers that we're hearing, even without the Washington Post report, have credible threats.
The Washington Post.
Of torture, credible reports of torture.
No, sure.
We have immigrants who are dying.
Illegal immigrants
in these detention centers. The conditions are.
There's no immigrants in the detention centers.
Horrific. I can confirm that from having gone to the Everglades Detention Center.
I would like somebody to confirm that she actually confirmed that.
Where I sponsored legislation to have it shut down.
And it got nowhere.
This is a situation where Donald Trump wants to draw people's attention away from the fact that life in America under his presidency is unaffordable.
the unaffordable argument. Did you notice that they found that word, they focus grouped it, and they found the word that unaffordability and affordability and unaffordable were the words that they should use because it rates with most Americans. But most Americans know that prices have been coming down under Trump. All right. Gas in most states has come down. It's $3 or below.
Yeah,
right. It was up to over $4 under Biden. Right. Groceries came down. Right. Houses are coming down now. I mean, I don't get how they think they're getting away with it.
But there's like a third of this country, a full third of this
What's
country.
up, Vime? Good to see you. I'm sorry to interrupt. Good to see you, Vime. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you had a good Christmas.
Yep.
See you, Chris.
There's like a third of this country who are diehard, vote blue no matter who, for whom it does not matter. They're going to listen to Debbie Wasserman Schultz and they're going to say,
yeah,
oh, that's so terrible. And
yeah.
If they hear anything else, it's like, no, I've already made up my mind. Don't confuse me with the facts.
Yeah.
They just say, you're lying. She's telling the truth.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what I love when they then also come out and go, there's a lot of buyer's remorse for people that voted for Trump. You're like really?
Right now,
really?
Show me one.
He closed the border and he had 0 crossings, like official official crossings for like 3 months in a row now.
Show me one. I've seen a couple of videos where people put that out, and then a couple of exposés on them in which these so-called longtime Republicans were actually long-time Democrats that were just
right. See, you have to figure this way, okay? I think it's because of this, because they have to get their digs in now because they work off of like argument 1,000 cuts of death, right? So it'll say 1,000 little stupid things like this that you think nothing of it, but when you hear enough of them, you go, God damn, Trump is really fucking up, isn't he?
Yeah.
Right. And they have to do this now because they know, like everybody else does, the first 2 quarters of next year, the economy is going to explode. $13 trillion of investments already. It might be higher than that now.
And if our economy is good in the second quarter of next year,
we win the midterms.
We win
easy.
the midterms.
Yeah, we win the midterms easy. And they're going to do everything they can to make sure it doesn't. You're going to have blue states that are going to get things built inside their states, manufacturing plants, coming out with all kinds of laws and lawsuits to stop the building of them, all because it will hurt Trump in their eyes. Yeah, I mean, that's what they did with the sanctuary cities. They thought it would hurt Trump in their eyes.
Yeah,
they're nuts.
But fortunately, that will be in the blue states.
See you, Pam. Thanks. See you. Have a good night.
Yeah, and this Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she just kind of makes me feel ill.
Oh, she does every single time.
So, are we done?
Yeah, we're done. Okay. So, well, let me just play one little bit more.
Skyrocketing healthcare costs, which are about to get worse in 4 days.
Skyrocketing healthcare costs. They just voted to extend Obamacare subsidies, which means that all of us who are not on Obamacare also have to pay for people that are on Obamacare.
Days from now, when the enhanced premium tax credits expire, increasing rents and unacceptably high.
The increasing rents happened because they brought a shit ton of illegals in for 4 years and the government paid the rents. They overpaid the rents. And so now the American people, they can't afford it because they don't have the government subsidizing their rents.
Utility rates. So, of course, scapegoating the vulnerable is what this is.
She just said scapegoating the vulnerable. She just scapegoated us, right? She just told us that it's Trump that caused all the things that her party caused. All right, that's enough of that. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. We love you guys very much. You guys have a good week. Watch the videos, please. Yeah, because I'm having problems with I was promoting through Google Ads. And now, for whatever reason, Google is now rejecting every one of my videos. So
okay, come back next week and bring a friend.
Please.
I'm actually not sure I'm going to be here next week.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know during the week.
Well, You know.
Oh, I
Rick.
know why. I know why. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You know, I don't mind.
Yeah,
I can. We have a few people. I don't mind. I'm having knee replacement surgery on Monday morning, first thing.
Yeah. God bless on that.
So my presence here next Friday is going to depend on the weather. The weather being the condition of my knee. So Thursday morning, 8 o'clock Mountain Time. Think about me, peoples. And I expect to be back next Thursday, but next Friday. But you know.
All right. Well, you know,
I'll let you know during the week.
Like I said, Godspeed, God bless. So you have a good time. All right. All right, guys. We will see you later. Thank you very much. We love you all. Please hit the like button if you haven't already before you leave. It really helps. Appreciate it. We're out of here. Have a good one.